Wah.
Wah.
Hello, everyone.
No.
Hi, Maggots. Hi, Drake, of course. Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Thunder. Thanks for the raid. Wah.
Wah.
Wah. It is the day's Drake. The day Tabletop Talk returns.
The returns, and both of us were yawning right before we did this. It's absolutely perfect. We're already on brand.
We're tired beans on Saturdays. It's always been true. Yeah. It's 2025, folks. I'm sorry to tell you. Like, if you look out the window, you will see that it's the future.
And it is the future. The future, as we have to say it.
Yeah. And, well, today we'll be looking at this very much not official and therefore very much free game, which you can find here if you want to read along or take a look. But before we start, is there anything particular we have to speak on that's very urgent in the tabletop community? I don't think there is there?
I don't think there is. The Monster Manual, they said they were going to change things, then they didn't actually change them.
Yeah.
And they made some things worse, so.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's 5th edition.
505 is trucking along, making unearned millions, like many things that shouldn't make money do. But yeah, so Locke poked me at this, very on brand for the now Astro, I should say. Very on brand for them because they love their Final Fantasies, and I was like, well, eventually I'm going to get to it, and then it became free game time for me, which made it so yeah, we will now look at it. This is firstly what we should point out here. Yeah, so fan-made content. For that, the art is honestly very good in this. Like, they explicitly cannot ask anyone for money ever in this, or they will instantly get bonked. They already exist in very much of a gray area. As is. But yeah.
It's basically, for those of you who don't know, even doing an unofficial work that involves stuff that as a Japanese company is very, very swift path to getting bonked. Even if you never ask for money and they are very, very pursuant to legal stuff very quickly. So the fact that this exists, even that's amazing that it's even still here on itch. So
they are currently hauling ass, I believe, to finish this in there, because this is the beta version 1.0. And they need to be hauling ass to finish this product, because non-zero chance when the official TTRPG comes out that this has to vanish or find a new, like, you know how it is. Currently it's on itch. Currently people can potentially at least support them in some way, though they don't accept donations, I don't think. If they do, it's also more of a gray area. Well, whatever, you know what I mean. Once there's an actual Square Enix product out that's a tabletop RPG, that's probably going to be worse than this, because it's the first effort by them. They might just go after this a lot harder. But yeah, well, yeah, we're in a beta phase, which there is one or two instances where we encountered like inconsistencies in this book. So but overall, this is a very playable product already. I will say that right now. And there are some inspirations. Interestingly, at least a few of them aren't Final Fantasy.
Yep. There's some DNA of 13th Age in here, that's for sure. A little bit of Fantasy Craft for sure, and a little bit of Legend System for sure. Yeah. It just pops up in weird places, but it's there.
It does. And then PDF stuff. And then we arrive at the index, which is where we see, holy crap, this is a real book. 400 pages plus. Nice. They put the work in, guys. They put the work in. And then we have a glossary immediately, which we are going to gloss over.
Reading it first will just confuse you, honestly,
Yeah.
in this case.
It's good that it's there right at the start where you can easily find it when you need to refer to it.
Yep.
And then we have instructions to role-playing games, what's Final Fantasy. We are also going to gloss over those on account of we know what those are.
You know what a Final Fantasy is. Gosh darn it.
And then we get a brief history of this game's editions, because this spans actually, like, at this point, over 25 years of editions in history of people making a TTRPG about Final Fantasy.
Yep.
At
I was
one
surprised
point,
to see this.
Yeah, I find this very interesting. Bahamut Academy, I believe, was only available in Brazilian. In Brazil.
Portuguese,
Portuguese, exactly. And yeah, a lot of stuff, and then offshoots and so on and so forth. There's like additions to this, and potentially the same people worked on them. I did not really do research on that. But yeah, it's a very popular thing, Final Fantasy. So of course a lot of people have tried their hand at this. There's even other kinds of Final Fantasy games that aren't included in this that also exist. Ataraxian, thank you for the resub. After 16 secrets, I think they're lying. This isn't Final Fantasy Zero credibility. Yeah, it's interesting that the reason the original one was called Final Fantasy because they thought they were going out of business after releasing it.
Yep.
And now the only thing keeping them afloat is 14.
Yeah.
Because they're squandering all their money over and over into stupid bullshit products.
I will give an honorable mention to Chrono Trigger in that there's not a Chrono Trigger RPG that I've ever been able to find, but there is going to be a game called Threads of Time that is going to be inspired by Chrono Trigger. I think it comes out this year.
I think
it was highlighted last year.
Like, quality of it notwithstanding, the way they told the story of Chrono Cross kind of torpedoed that franchise.
It really did. It really did. Like, it's very, very hard to go back and go, well, let's do another one. No, you can't really. Sorry.
But yeah, this book, what they want to do with it is they want to have mythos over settings, so they aren't going to refer to one specific game at all. They're going to give you the vibe of FF everything. So there's going to be crystals, there's going to be airships, naval and normal ships, lots of magic, many archetypes you can play as, or have, whatever you want to call it, and creatures, and the creatures you know, and a character named Sid. That's the one thing they could, in my opinion, really do without at this point, is fucking Sid. I still don't like Sid, sorry.
No, you shouldn't like Sid. It's sort of like having Biggs and Wedge and everything. Yes, I get Biggs and Wedge or a reference to Star Wars, but come on.
They're always there. They're always usually with Sid. Final Fantasy XIV is so annoying at the start when the real main character, Sid, shows up.
Okay.
And has more of an arc than you get.
Yes.
At least that's through A Realm Reborn. I find that really grating. Hi, Pinky.
I'm glad that they transition out of that.
Yeah. This game is then meant to be played more or less in a structured kind of way. Like, of course, there's going to be deviations, but the structure is preparation phase, in which the quest is given to the party, and the party can, prepare for what they think is coming. Then exploration, where they pursue the quest. This can be finding the dungeon, this can be finding an NPC, whatever. Then encounter, where there's a big fight. And then downtime, where the party is, like, licking their wounds and stuff. And then they also have the fanfare phase. What was that again? Oh yeah, this is a recap thing. Like, the DM tells you what happened. Keeps it in your head. where I usually let the players
Can
do
you
that.
zoom in on the page like just a little?
Oh, sure. Can do. Yeah.
I just realized that if I'm having trouble, I'm sure people on stream might be having a little trouble.
Fair enough.
There we go.
Fair enough. We go over some kind of like, is it a little side quest, a question, because these kind of things are a bit gamey for me. But basically, the more the main scenario is more serious business and concerns character backstory and stuff mainly, or maybe it does. While the other two are more like, hey, there's some goblins over yonder in that ruin, kind of quests that just happen during gameplay. You know, that's just a chance for a party to get stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever, not that important. What do we need to play though? Well, we need dice, all of them, from D4 to D20. Everything's represented, and then annotation, pretty obvious. If we add something, we say +3 at the end. You need cheats, you need NPC templates, and you could have other stuff as well if you want. This is just not. We know these sections.
D12s in this game, though. A lot of D12s.
You kind of do, yes. You also roll lots of D20s. Because, and now we are at the big reveal. How do we roll for this? Well, we roll static modifier plus variable modifier plus the 1d20 versus target number. So, what does this look like? Does this look like we are playing a game that we know?
Yes.
Yes.
One of those games.
It's one of those Dungeons and Dragons games that we know.
Yep.
So, when I arrived here, I was, because I had been pretty hyped for the game, and when I arrived here, I was like, oh, really? Is this really just a D&D clone? I thought in my brain. And then I read on, and even like just on the site, they come up with some interesting stuff like flipping dice.
Yes.
Which is, if you roll a, let's say a 7, you can flip that dice to be a 14. Because to show the other face, you do 21 minus your number, that's the side you can flip it to.
Yep.
Like they give these times of rolling a natural 17 and flipping it to a 4, which is kind of weird, but okay. And you can't flip crits, which is fair enough. I like this. I like this kind of more than advantage even.
Yep. I actually like it a lot more.
It doesn't have to get double rolled, and there's a pretty clear idea of, okay, there's a middle bit, probably my probability space, where I can't make it at all, and there's a lower bit where I can make it by flipping, which is a resource I spent.
Yeah.
Because you can't just always do it. There's cost associated. So you are kind of. It feels good that it's always gonna work, is what I'm getting at, I guess.
Yeah, it's always helpful. Like, of all the things that I hate about advantage and disadvantage, it's one thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I rolled another one.
Yeah. Well, advantage. I rolled a 10 and a 11. Yeah. Thanks, advantage.
Thanks.
Very useful. Of course, the moments where you roll the 19 and the 3 are cool, but in this, if you roll 19 and you needed a low number, you can flip it to a 2. Yeah, I like it. Boons and Banes are, this is like Lancer stuff.
Yep.
Because if you have a boon, you roll an extra d6 and add it to the number that you roll. And if you roll a Bane, it's the same, but you subtract. And you can get several of these. And they cancel each other out as well.
Mm-hmm. So one of the many attempts at writing my own thing, I use the exact same terms. I think they're pretty good terms to use.
Yep. A boon or Bane trade before I forgot wrong. Yeah, right. If you can sometimes use up boons preemptively to make things hit harder if they hit. which is also nice because then you feel more invested in the role and you make it more
Yeah, they focus more on providing options for you, the player, to mess around with your dice than, hey, here's a +2, which I really like. Because Pathfinder is obsessed with how can we give you the +2, when I think that's not the answer anymore. I think having you make a choice so that you can be involved in the dice roll is more important than anything else now, because that's the thing that Blades of the Dark does so poorly, is you're not involved in the dice roll. Oh shit, I didn't roll a 6, guess I'm fucked. Like, that's terrible.
And
fuck you.
I so agree with like Pathfinder in specific, where it's like, oh, you have a situational modifier, you have a ability modifier, you have a item modifier, you have a you have 17 modifiers, it turns out. And they add up to +18 because they're all ones. Like, okay, I'm over exaggerating it, but it's annoying. Like that you A, have to track them all, B, have to like just like everyone has to keep tracking them. It's so bad I mentioned it twice, because if the DM forgets stuff, then it's like it can so easily get out of sync with what's active and what isn't. Like, I found that at the table when I was DMing Pathfinder First Edition. Where it's like, wait, is this still active? Is this modifier still active? We ended up putting like poker chips in the middle of the table so that we would know how many bonuses people have for stuff. And then you had to remember what they were for, so you had to write it down also. It's like the worst. Of course, if you play with a VTT, that's like done for you. But it's still a constant worry for the DM, where they have to keep track of, wait, is this, it's dusk and people are look into the sun modifier still active 10 minutes later? I guess not. And then so on and so forth. Nah.
Yeah, it gets to be way too much too quickly. Reducing the bookkeeping and upping the choice, just like, I can't remember who coined it originally. Maybe it was Richard Garriott, maybe it was Warren Spector. It's probably Warren Spector. How RPGs are an idea space. And the more we move towards, hey, no, this is +2, and away from the idea of how can I get a +1d6, then we just lose something. And going back to the idea space of, okay, how can I increase my critical threat range, but make it interesting mechanically, but also make it a choice? And they kind of solved that here.
Yeah, it's good. So that's mechanic-wise, we are already surpassing D&D. And now, character creation. What do? When we choose our ability modifiers, we choose our race, our class, our jobs, our skills and interests, our feats, equipment, and then we finish touches. This game wants you to play with arrays. They don't give you other creation options, which I think is okay. You can still easily like play this with rolling roll stats if you want to, of course. Like, who it's gonna stop you? But yeah, we are here. So since it's D&D, we can easily see, okay, we either have all 13s, which is kind of I'd never pick this. It's boring. 3, so 17, 15, 15, and then 9s. Or 3 15s, 2 11s, and a 9. So, not super high mods, but that's fine, because this game does actually work a bit differently than you would expect, and there's ways to buff yourself a lot easier.
A lot easier. And
the abilities are Vigor, Agility, Vitality, Mind, Spirit, and Persona. So, it's the 6 ones,
The only criticism I have here, don't have 2 stats that start with the same initial.
Yeah. Especially if it's Vig and Vit.
Don't do that.
Yeah. And you wanted to rename them all, I get it.
Should have just called it Might. That's it. That's my only criticism.
Yeah. Probably call it might. That's a good point.
Yeah, and then mind works fine, but we could have called it something else too. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one of those little things that when it comes to abbreviating things, the less that people have to think when it comes to the core stats, the better. It's different if it's like we're abbreviating 20 things that are all less important.
Yeah.
Always is different. But yeah, like this is you can imagine what these six things are.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty straightforward.
So next we choose a race. And we have all of them here assembled. Like I'm gonna go through it. We're gonna go like they talk you through the steps here, but I'm gonna go through it in the book because oops, I jumped all the way to the bottom somehow.
Hey, you got to go with what you know, Nora.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, here we are. I want to also keep it back what the crux of the system is. So we have aura here. Let's look at how the races work as examples, right? So they add you one ability modifier point. So an aura gets agility or persona. They get one skill, which is either presence or athletics, and they get bonus feats. The basic combat, a skill, and a social feat. And then they get one racial feature.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much true throughout for these. And you can pick some of the android here. Optional racial feature, artificial being. This is just a negative. You cannot recover HP using white magic spells. Consumables such as potions can still recover HP as normal. So yeah, the DM can be like gimp yourself a little because you're a robot.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all of them get like a skill bonus, a stat bonus, and 3 feats, and then also a racial feat, a racial feature. And this is true throughout.
For context for people, the origin skill is the highest rated skill you'll have. Like you get the highest bonus with it.
Yes. Oh yeah, true. That's for skill bonuses, we should say. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And yeah, they put all of them in. All of the Final Fantasy creatures are here. I love the dwarf art here.
Dwarves are perfect. I love the dwarves.
Tombs. They have special Albert races.
Garleans,
yeah, which by all rights shouldn't be allowed to do magic, but whatever. Some cat for boys and girls. Moogles are playable. Rogadins are playable, of course. Ronsos from like 10. Potatoes. Barks. Viera. No Lalafell. But they're basically just the potatoes, so...
Yeah, they're the potatoes. So. Yep, and, if the name is like, wait, what? Well, there's a different name in 14, so...
Yeah.
That's it.
First 2 years of the game, they were Beast Tribe.
Yep. Exactly.
And now we get to how this actually, like, the game actually becomes super interesting suddenly. Mm-hmm. Because so far it's like, yeah, okay, you did D&D. But now we are at the moment where it becomes super interesting. Classes and jobs. So, in this game, you will pick one class. So far, so normal. And then you'll pick 3 jobs.
Yep.
And I think you have to have 1 job from your class. And otherwise, it's completely free for all. Yeah. And then how it goes is... Let's look at it's easier to explain when you look at things. So here. So Furion is a warrior who is a fighter, a fencer, and a black mage. Cecil Harvey. Probably not a class description up here, but more like a name for people I don't remember. As an adept who is a paladin, a dark knight, and a sentinel. Cloud Strife is a warrior. Webmaster, Berserker, Magic Knight, and so on and so on and so on. They give you lots of examples. And how it works mechanically is, well, we pick our class, let's say warrior. We gain the action search ability, which in this case means we can do one action per turn, attack once without it costing us an action, which is immediately a lot better than than how action search works in 5e. Like, it feels more impactful to have it every turn.
Way more impactful.
All limit breaks, to say it right now, can only be activated if your HP are at half or below.
Yep.
But they then stay active even if you get healed.
Yep. These are your crisis/bloodied abilities that keep going.
Yes, usually. And it's nice when the player gets some of those. They have the PCM and MCM, which is like your physical combat modifier and magical combat modifier, and they're based on different stats depending on your class. Yeah. So
your class is the main arbiter for all of this stuff.
Yeah. For the warrior, you get it from your vigor and from your mind. So even if you pick like a magic class that is not a mind class, you would have to have high mind to get good attacks, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then you pick you pick 3 of these, and each job has its own limit break, which you can then also theoretically use instead of the one you get from your class. And they get 7 circle abilities. This guy, being the rage barbarian's class of things, starts with a rage ability, and then just gains additional stuff. And how it works is you choose your fast, medium, and your slow job.
I don't remember which table that page or which page that table's on.
Some pages above. Yes, it's above the races. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, advancement 19.
Yeah. So at first level, we get 3 feat slots. We get our fast and medium job get their first ability. And our slow job doesn't come into play yet. We don't have it yet. Yeah. And then at second level, the slow job gets in. And then at third level, the fast job gets one. And then we get 1 level in the classes, basically, and to get them in order. Meaning...
I just noticed that bonus damage column. You get automatic increases in your damage as you level.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that before. So that's how you can improve it beyond a 3d12.
Yeah, okay, that's all base stuff. Maybe
it's just for your weapon. Yes. It's not for a spell, though.
That's weird, because then weapons are way better than spells. No damage.
Weird. Huh.
Magic
well, this is a beta, so...
Yeah. We can... Some of this is like... This is good, but maybe final version has some jank removed. Who knows? Anyway. But the potential here is really cool, because... How much did you say? Nearly 30,000 combinations of classes you can make?
Let me scroll up in the chat. I'll give the exact number. 29,260.
Yeah. And as I said,
nearly 30,000.
19 characters until you have had each character job once, if you only pick new jobs.
Yep.
Which is quite something. Like that's the kind of modularity and build space that D&D will never have.
No, never will. And then also that number discounts the effect, the how things change based on which one you pick for your class.
Yes.
Just multiply that by 4 and you get that, because it's 4 different ways.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's just so much here. So here's the conclusion that I drew from this section before we get even further into it. So each one of these is 7 circles, 7 abilities. What does that map onto if you compared it directly to 5th edition?
You mean
a subclass.
Yeah,
you pick 3 subclasses instead of picking a class in this game.
Yeah. You get 3 subclasses, and you
combine those.
You combine them, and it's really cool. Yeah, I like this in the design space brain because, but there's no doubt a combination of classes in here that I would really like to play, and probably more than one.
Yeah. I think that's the big takeaway from it, because that's the most boring part of 5th edition for me is just the fact that, yes, you pick one subclass, but then that's it. There's no further choices at all, really, because if you choose something beyond, like, oh, I'm going to be funny and put my ability score increase in intelligence for Barbarian, then you're doing it wrong, unfortunately. That's just the way the game works. This game, that's not necessarily the case.
Like this game, it still front loads your choice completely.
Oh, completely.
Because if you pick your 3 classes in the order that you are supposed to, you know what your next level up will be.
Yeah, totally does.
The front loading part is fine if it's always something new that you haven't never interacted with before, and it's interesting. Meanwhile, in D&D, well, I'm gonna get 50% chance a shitty ability I don't care about next.
Yeah.
Because I already know how it works, so I know that it doesn't do much. Like you pick fighter in D&D for like capstones abilities, and then you pick if you're boring champion fighter to do the most damage. Then you know that at certain level points you're gonna get your crit range increased. That's the only levels you really will care about this fighter.
Yeah.
But even sit there and be like, okay, if I get my crit increase there, do I then take another class? Actually gives me cool stuff. And yeah, I don't know. That's in a sense that's more choice heavy than this, but also not.
Yeah.
Because
in the example you gave, you're making your choices based on, am I going to be bored?
Yeah.
Which, that's terrible. That's a terrible space for things to be designed around. Whereas in this, you could make different choices for your feats. You could make different choices for your interests. You could make different choices for a number of things. And yeah, you pick your 3 jobs at the start, but the thing is by second level whether or not this combination of 3 is going to be what you want to roll with further.
Yeah.
Unlike other games where you don't know until like level 6 or 7, because this isn't a game where they say dangle fireball in front of you and say you have to get to level 5 before you know if you like this class.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen here.
True. And also, their takes on classes are not identical. That's also important. Like the barbarian here actually become even stronger when you're even lower on hit points with fury. And then your fury levels up, but at all times it has to be your HP at total has to be below 25%. But you gain, instead of gaining damage resistance, you gain temporary hit points each turn. So it's very easy actually to bonk you away from your fury percentage. And like building, if you were to take this class, you would kind of have to combine it with other classes that give lots of hit points.
Yep, you'd have to.
Actually, wait, I'm stupid. It doesn't really need that because that's all from the warrior. But still, like you would have to combine it maybe with something where you can on demand be tanky now. Because I'm at my 25%. How else can I gain defenses now so that I don't die when I get hit? There's immediate build potential there, while in D&D it's like, well, I rage. Why? Because it's combat time. And then I hit people. And that's it.
Yeah, there's no more thinky. Thinky is done after that.
Yeah. Like, and as we can see here, like the abilities you gain aren't necessarily like you tend to gain your best one first.
Yeah.
Which is also something that D&D is like, nah. Like, extra attack, that's a 5th level thing. Meanwhile here it's like, yeah, well, your actual rage you get first, and then like stuff that builds on top of it you get after that.
Yeah, they have a focus on making sure your iconic thing is immediately given to you.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I said about you know what you are by second level in this game. Yeah. There are many other games where they don't want to do that. They want you to not know what you are.
Yep.
Like Dervish is another amazing example of that, because War Trance, oh, okay, cool. I get damage spiking 1. Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, what's the other things I get? Interesting.
Yeah. You get boons. Like, this is my weapon master, basically. You get boons equal to the number of Dervish circles you have unlocked. Mm-hmm. Can I take the parry reaction? Yep. Your War Trance, you're just gonna be a big slice and dice and maelstrom of sword, I guess. Mm-hmm. And of course, some of this might even conflict with the above. I think specifically this one does. But yeah, you may use this very well under the effects of War Trance, right? It starts out being mutually exclusive, but War Trance is limited. Yeah, okay. There's a lot of design stuff here. Like Dragoon is another one where I'm like, oof. What the hell?
It's very fascinating though, because everything has its own identity, and they managed to do this 47 times.
Yes.
Like, or 57 times.
Yes.
Like, I can't overstate that enough, is that we look at subclasses in D&D 5.05 and we think, what is the identity of this? And it's, oh, I take exhaustion to hit again. That's a terrible identity. You should be fired. Like, you should be able to come up with an identity better than that. And then this does. Like, and yes, it's relying on falling back into the sweet, soft arms of Final Fantasy repeatedly for establishing these things. But the challenge is to adapt this into a tabletop game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And we can't exactly be like, man, this Final Fantasy game reminds me too much of Final Fantasy.
Exactly. You can't do that. Like, you looked at the cover, you know what you're in for.
Yeah. If you're really not into Final Fantasy, then yeah, don't play this, of course. And you have your tank guy you can taunt next. Your fighter who's basically like arms mastering all over the place.
Yeah, arms master, yeah. Which is cool. Like, there's just no design space for that in 5.05. Yeah. Like, they say they added it to Fighter, but no, it doesn't exist. I like the idea of an arms master.
Yes, because another thing we will do is design our weapons pretty freeformly.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Which is also really cool, because, hey, what weapons are you going to use as a rogue in 5e? Oh, probably a short sword, because it's D6. Cool, that's your choice then. Bye-bye.
That's it. Yeah. Never gonna do anything else ever again.
Maybe you'll find something cool later. And this game also has magic items, of course, but it also has just you designing your weapon out of like several possibilities and picking your damage die. Like, you can make a rogue in this with a D10 weapon.
Yeah.
If you want to. It might not be ideal, but you can.
You can.
Yeah. The night break stuff. Yeah,
I love this. It's an interesting design space where no, you can't roll higher than this. Fuck you.
This is really cool, actually. Like, I broke your ability to have good armor or a maximum reaction rolls to natural roll of 18, 15, and 12. Like, yeah. Like, this is a little thing you can build a whole class around, and so they did. Like, almost everything you can build a class around.
Yeah. The monk is more monk than the D&D monk. Like, come on. Take notes.
You build up chakra and then you release it in a blitz attack or a blitz attack flurry thing.
That's such a fun thing. I like stuff like this.
And if you take damage, you lose chakra as well.
The focus these days, I've noticed, is can we make combat like 3 rounds or less? This game does not seem to have that philosophy.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have an effect that lasts 7 rounds, it's actually very nice in a game like this. Whereas, like, D&D, and yes, I have to say this about Fabula Ultima too, things are often over before they even begin. And there is a design space for having combat last a certain duration. Lancer has that to a large degree, but it's in a very different format because that's mech fighting. You aren't describing the intricacies of you expelling your chakra energy to debuff somebody.
Yep. This game has in it from the start the ability for you to be like, well, I have potions. What does that mean? Well, on my turn I can drink a potion for my turn and it's going to heal me for 25% of my hit points. How many potions do you have? Don't worry. Unlimited fucking potions. This game like has this idea, you know, back when you were small and you were playing a Final Fantasy for the first time, and there was this fight where the enemy just didn't seem to want to die, and you were like in that gray area of, well, I have to use one of my people to use potion on somebody every turn, or somebody will die, and then I can use 2 other people to do this or that, but I'm almost out of mana points. So how do I? That's where we are here, and it's kind of cool.
Yes. And I like that idea space. And the reason why I like that idea space is because it creates choices. That's what I want.
Yes. And then they talk about mudras and blitzes that you can have. Like, we're not going into huge detail for these classes because, again, there's 47 of them, guys.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah. And they also
all interesting.
And they all get their own limit break as well, so you have 4 limit breaks to choose from right off the bat.
Right away.
I guess 3, and then the 4th at the 2nd level. Wow.
Yeah, so that's like, wow.
Yeah. And usually these involve like building up some sort of point store and then spending it. At least for the warriors, it seems to be the case. Where I'm already sitting here like, okay, is there a way I can double dip that, where I can build up several things at once for being by playing well? And yeah, the answer is more or less not 100% directly, but yes, there's definitely that.
Oh yeah, definitely that. This game has a lot of DNA with a few other things too. Did you ever play the game, the MMO Rift?
I played Rifts.
Okay. Well, there was an MMO called Rift where the central premise was you pick one, it's either mage, priest, fighter, or rogue. Yeah, and then each one of them had different classes under them, and you could build your character however many levels you want to invest in. I think it was up to 3 classes within that subset. So you could have very interesting character builds. And this reminds me of that because what are we doing here? We're picking 3 jobs and building basically a unique character class based around that, which I just love that design space.
Sentinel is your shield user. Sniper is clear what sniper is. Weapon master is your other weapon master. Choose one focus
weapon. Is you master a weapon, whereas the other one is like pick up lots of weapons.
Yeah, and based on the weapon tags, which we will get to later, you improve all weapon tags basically. So this is really nice to just pick if you already have like another fighting class. If you know, okay, I'm going to be using my Buster Sword, I'm going to pick this guy, Weapon Master, to increase my Buster Sword at all times. Why not? It's really interesting. And next class, next class, yes, is the expert with basically like what do we have under the expert? Well, it's the agility based class, kinda. And they gain more skills, but less hit points, but the same amount of mana. So you have under this like non-magic healers, engineers, covert ops guys. These are your skill monkey classes.
Yep, that's exactly what they are. Yep. And you can carry more consumables as an alchemist. You can mix consumables together to have another effect. There's all kinds of stuff here.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Yeah. And again,
and they managed to keep it simple once again.
Yeah, to point this out again, like you can pick this as your main thing and then still pick 2 yellow jobs and have 1 green job. That's entirely a build you can make. Like, it's crazy. This is, that story that goes around, like one of those urban myth stories about the guy who was like, yeah, I'm gonna play a rogue, and made a 2-meter tall orc and was an unstealthy as fuck guy, and just beat people up because it's not that kind of rogue, but he still played rogue. This was like intimidation focused and stuff. Yeah, like in D&D, that's kind of stupid ultimately. Like, even if the story, of course, makes it look not stupid, it is kind of stupid. Because you could have made a better non-sneaky rogue by playing a fighter. And just saying you were working for the Thieves Guild, because they probably have like a few fighters around. But in this, you can actually make that character, and it's actually going to be good.
I play a Rogaden thief who has Weapon Master and, I don't know, Barbarian.
Because, like, pointing it out, if I pick Expert, my PCM is based on Agility, so I can now ignore Might and just have Agility. If I want to be a very, like, flippy-floppy, dodgy character. Because all those Might guys are going to have to pump Might to attack better, while I don't. So I lose 2 hit points per level, but I gain that. Is that worth it? I don't know, but it's a build space. It's actually interesting.
Yeah, it's an actually interesting build space. And that's the key to all of this, is that it's making us do a thinky.
Yeah.
As a certain warlockocracy likes to say. That's the whole thing. I want these games to make me think, make me go, hey, what do? Not, oh my god, I have to roll a 6 or a suck.
Yep. And then we have, what are you?
Overt Ops.
Disguise. Are you a disguised man? Yeah. Dynamo was momentum points. Quick strike, momentum techniques, weapon attacks, inflict bleeding. Yeah, this is just a dex fighter kind of class, where you like use a different point pool to do special attacks with. Engineer, pretty self-explanatory, I would think.
Yep.
You can again, like, honestly, blitz through this because there's so many. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not really going to go over every single one.
Too.
Yeah, they all have their thing. Like the general commands, you command your friends to do stuff, and they get bonuses.
Mediator, your charisma, talk to people, be person.
Yeah, and you might be like, but why would I pick this when I could have another fighting class? Well, if you already have 2 fighting classes, why would you need a third one?
Why?
Like, it's gonna make you not that much stronger, but this is like the way picking this. If you already have 2 fighty Ooga Boonga classes, is going to be the ability for you to actually do stuff outside of combat. Because that's still going to be a lot of time spent outside of combat, so that's cool. Medic is a way to heal without using mana, which is pretty cool. The class gets some other things that help you with that. I think this is interesting to pick specifically if you are a caster that doesn't want to invest in healing, though.
Yeah.
Because you need your mana points.
Yeah.
Need your mana points for, big damage. Sustaining this 1 HP, the entire party gains temporary addition of points based on... Okay, yeah. Let's buff everyone. Yeah. And then again, noble, like, target is an authoritative, is either silence, charm, or confuse. Yeah, just like be cool and ban action for somebody. That's interesting. No, you can't attack. Why? Because I'm a fucking noble.
Because I said so.
Yeah.
Stamps foot.
Mm-hmm.
And then Squire is just like, I'm going to assist you based on your class.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
I'm gonna buff you based on your class. I gain a boon to your next attack and a boon to your next skill. Cast and may grant an ally either. It's also good. It's so good. Because Adept is the real jack of all trades kind of group of things in here. Oh yeah, wait, limit break. For the run of the encounter, you gain fundamentals in all allies. To give fundamentals to all allies. Okay, I see. Thief, probably pretty self-explanatory. You can sneak attack, you can steal stuff. And as we also have seen now, as we go through this, oh, excuse me. A lot of the time, if your circle go up, so necessarily you gain a new thing. You also often gain a buff to an old thing, which is also something D&D does. But usually D&D tells you in the skill you gain when it happens. Like in this case, your sneak attack goes up by 1d6 every other time you level this class up. Actually, no, it's untrue. Second circle, third circle. I misread it. Okay, it goes up every time, but it doesn't go up by a d6. Yeah.
Yep. So it goes up to 4d10. Okay, so we found like the thing that can do the most damage here.
Yeah, this if you can sneak attack, of course. If your count is lower than yours, you may choose to add d4 damage. So sneak attack, the attack roll doesn't generate extra effort dice.
Okay, that's the caveat. Yeah, because the whole effort dice thing is another interesting thing. All these things, and you get them if you do way better than your die result, winding up being something that you can save for later.
Yeah, you're basically using up your effort instantly to do more damage. Is what happens here. And then we have the mage. Who gets
how done with her shit she looks.
Yeah, she looks very done.
Really? I have to pose for this picture.
Okay, so you make your MP last longer as a mage. You gain the fewest hit points, but you gain way more mana points, and you also don't gain a shit ton of skill points. And then you can pick which one you would like it to be for your attack and magic attack.
Yep. A lot of choice here.
Yeah.
Just kind of nice.
And this is all of the ones you would expect from certain things, like Arcanist is here.
Ivy's whip,
giving lots of curses. Black Mage is here doing elemental stuff. Cosmic Mage is here doing, what do Cosmic Mages do? This is Entropist. Yeah, they debuff and stuff.
Cosmic stuff.
Yeah. And time bending bullshit. Necromancers are here. Yeah, you can just be a necromancer. I love how dapper the skeleton is. It's so good.
Dapper skeleton. Good.
I think it's supposed to be the butler, but I like the idea that the skeleton is actually in charge. And that's just a necromancer on retainer.
Oh, I'm his floor manager.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Hi, Rinako. Hello. And all of these guys gain spellcasting, which we'll get to. But also you can command some bones as a necromancer, and like you make minions and stuff. Like you choose one opponent, the target's physical. Okay. Yeah. Like your skeleton debuffs people and so on. The Ravager, I forgot.
They just cast a lot of spells quickly.
Oh yeah, right. This is this is one of those classes, like it's also true for the Dragoon kind of, where it's only good to take if you already have taken a mage.
Yeah.
In this case for those. But because we have 47 classes here, that's fine. Including the slow specialists is fine. Like initially not sure if I'm a fan of having such specialized classes, but it's like, well, if I pick mage and I pick 3 mage classes, one of them being Ravager, just makes sense. So let's do it.
It does. Yeah. And that's the other thing. When you have the 12 classes that you do in D&D, you can't have any of them be actually niche. You just can't.
Yep.
And their subclasses can't be niche either.
Oh, and
the subclasses have to be pretty generalist.
Yeah, and you know what happens when you do that? Like when you make, say, an alchemist? They suck.
Sucks so bad.
Same for the Tinker. What was it called?
Artificer.
Yeah.
Both fucking terrible class.
Kind of comparatively terrible. Sure, they are novel, but they aren't great.
No. And like, so many people would make the argument, but like, if you set it up and blah, blah, blah. No, the point is that everything out of the box should be playable. Everything.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be but if we set it up, no, it doesn't matter.
And by playable, we don't mean that you can play them, because of course you can. By playable, we mean you shouldn't feel useless next to all of the other player characters.
Exactly. Because playability, that's definitely one of the dimensions of it is, do I feel like shit playing this?
Yes. And in this
if the answer is yes, then
in this case with Ravager, we cast way more spells and do it quicker and so on. We have meta magic flow, blah blah blah. Cool. Oh. We don't care about this if we are fighter, do we? Well, no, we don't. But that's fine, because you don't care about like 2/3 of these classes in this book at all times. When you're really building something, but you are like, man, I could pick this, or this is my 3rd class, and I want all of them.
Bingo.
Hi, Carrie. Red Mage is your Jack of all trades character.
Yep.
It's an interesting inclusion, because you would think you would make a Red Mage as a totality of things, but it's iconic. It has to be in here. And it has the black mage thing where you build up your gauges and then this is the one class actually where I'm like, maybe just don't have it, because it's if we have 3 classes, we can make a black mage by picking a healer class and the damage class and the 3rd class. We don't need to pick red mage just for the thing, because the whole point of red mage usually is that it's, well, I don't choose between your magics, I do them all. Yeah, but in this, everyone can do them all if they just pick 3 classes that do the things. So it's the one singular instance where I'm not sure about it.
The reason why I would make, I'm not sure if I completely agree with myself saying this, but the case that I think that would be made for it is, it does introduce a mechanic unique to itself with its balance gauge thing there. That's about it.
It's true. I guess this is one where you then pick non-casters on top and not other casters, though.
Yeah, pick like Fencer or something so that you can do the fantasy of, I swipe sword at you, but I'm also balancing the spells I'm casting and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. This is kind of maybe your casting class for having only a single red.
Yeah, true.
But still being a mage. Like starting as mage, but only having one mage class. And the thing is, Kari, this is where you can download this for free, because it's a fan-made game. And basically how it works, real quick recap for you. You pick a class, which is either a warrior adept, which is like the dex class, mage, or expert, I think is the 4th one. And then you pick 3 classes, 3 jobs within it. So, for example, mage has black mage, red mage, white mage, and so on in it, necromancer.
Yeah.
And you can mix and match these classes as you want. You only need to, if you pick mage as your as your class, you have to have pick 1 mage job, but you can pick 2 non-mage jobs on top. So you could be a berserker red mage who also is a rogue.
Would be pretty valid.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun character.
Like, I don't know how new this system is, but if the system was in previous editions, I wonder how much, or if there is any like overlap to Fabula Ultima with this, because it feels like, sure, two people can come at this idea at the same time, but it feels like something that might have been influenced.
Yeah, it comes at it from a different perspective of we're doing all this in advance, though.
Yes.
So yeah. I like that limit break. Weaponized nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like, what a name. Seriously.
Yeah. It's very cool. Hey, what's this guy? Well, this guy basically, you roll for what kind of spells you have currently. And the rank goes up. The spell is and chooses which spell from this list is granted to the sage. And the spell does not cost MP, and you cannot apply meta magic to the spell. On using the spell, you lose access to the spell and must spend an action to re-roll a new spell.
Yeah.
So this is definitely also one of those where you're probably... God, actually, I'm not sure if you pick this as your only or as your third magic class. It's almost like you are like basically hitting the slots for good spells every turn.
This is your mage gambler class, if I may.
The only reason I don't like this very much is that this is an action to do. And you spend an action each time to do this again. Like, this feels clunky a little bit.
Very clunky, yeah.
Scholar is your what do you do? Grimoire, meta magic feats. You casting apply one of the following astral pattern.
Oh, you have a spell book. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Damage vulnerabilities. Yeah, you basically this debuffs or buffs your enemies if your spells more. This is this is again this is one of those second magic classes more, maybe. Summoner summons actual.
Yuna.
Yeah, it's Yuna. Summons actual fucking arcanes.
Yeah.
And they mean business here. We have Bahamut Alexander on this list.
Yeah.
Diabolos. And Leviathan and so on. Like, this is pretty good.
I love it. I honestly love it. Like, fuck it. That was one of the things. A lot of people say Pathfinder jumped the shark when they added a summoner class, and I was like, no. That's the design space where they're finally moving outside of this has to be exactly like 3rd edition. That was the moment where they did that. And if you include a summoner class and you're just like, yes, we understand that there is an action economy, but if I may, other classes get something just as game breaking, then you're on the right track. You're on the right track.
Yeah. Basically, you summon this into yourself. You like this eidolon. Yeah. And White Mage, who is the healer / buff class because of white magic. Or you can be a yokai, which is
you are the eidolon.
Yeah, you embody an eidolon.
Instead of summoning, you are the summon.
Yeah. So you could do a yokai summoner, which would be cool.
Or you turn into Carbuncle and then you summon Carbuncle, so you have a Carbuncle.
Fucking Carbuncles at all times.
Carbuncle pills.
Adepts are kind of your jack of all trade guys because you can pick from any physical attribute to do their physical attacks and any mental to do their mental attacks.
Yep, they're the only one that can do physical attacks using vitality.
Yeah. And they have such cool things in them as Blue Mage, Ninja, and Illusionist. Or Beastmaster.
Yeah, Beastmaster also. Yeah.
He's the man. Actually, it's a hunter.
I like this one a lot because they decided let's go with you can have whatever fucking kind of companion you want, which is the design space again that I like. I don't like the idea of I'm a ranger. I can only pick a dog or a boa constrictor. Like, no, let me pick a treant or something. I don't fucking care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they do here. That's what they do. You want to have a fucking dragon? Just pick fucking dragon.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Blue Mage. There's going to be a few pages. There's going to be its own magic section just for Blue Mage. You learn monster spells and cast them. So nice. Which is a really cool concept.
Yeah, I always liked Blue Mage conceptually. It's a good design space.
Yeah. Dorknoid, where you
you're the Lord of Edges.
Yeah, you're the edgiest of Lord. Yeah. God damn.
Geomancer is pretty good. I was one of the few ones where I turned to the random page and I read the whole thing and thought about it, and I was like, okay. They kind of combined the concept of a traditional geomancer with a druid. So you are attuned to your environment, which is kind of cool as a concept.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you are only good in the Arctic, and said, no, I go to the Arctic and attune myself to it.
Yep. You basically become attuned to wherever you are, which is nice.
I love it.
This is more or less the what I'm playing, what Xarifa is.
Yeah. This is more, am I in a taiga forest rather than am I in a flamey place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's more elemental based with Xarifa, it's true.
Yeah.
Illusionists
is good.
Illusions are their own brand of spells, and only if you're illusionist can you pick them. Oh. So that's mainly what they get. Magic Knight, well, you become a Rayath.
All of it. The entire rare.
Yeah.
You specialize in enchanting your weapon and hitting stuff.
Yeah. If you put more circles in your weapon, like spell levels, it becomes stronger. Yeah. Ninja, as their own magic is again, which is also cool. Yeah. But you also become a cool ninja. Like, this is what I would play.
Yeah, you become Naruto.
I love Ninja. I love Ninja in 14. Ninja is fun. I don't want to. I don't want to hear about Naruto though. Fuck that.
Yes, this is actually very unlike Naruto.
Yeah. And again, the cool part here is like, ninja. I can be a ninja, but then if you pick a fighter class and with it, as opposed to like the rogue, then it's a different kind of ninja, which is already way deeper than most games will ever go with that concept.
Yeah, play like a Ranso who is a ninja. What was the other class you said?
I said fighter.
Okay,
class,
so
wasn't specific.
Let's say weapon master yokai.
Yeah.
There you go. You turn into a cool Oni and you destroy things.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm.
It's just like, it's so easy. You can think of something very quickly by just combining any three things. And there's the Oracle. Oracle is just like, they predict the future, but it's very die-oriented. You do odds or evens for predictions. You can reduce your HP to increase your MP. There's just a lot of supplemental stuff in here.
A very good support if you need mana. Like, because you gain you pay 2 hit points for 1 mana point. And a 1-to-2 ratio. So wait, mana is always... Oh wait, what? They reduce your hit points, increase mana, or vice versa as a 1-to-2. So 1 mana is 2 hit points. So you basically only have 1 pool. Almost.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, you can only reduce by a number of magical combat modifier. Okay, it's not quite that, but you treat your HP as MP and vice versa pretty freely, which is cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I enjoy this.
Yeah, and Paladin, you are...
Oh, I don't know what this is.
No, I don't know either. Let's continue. As a rune knight, you absorb mana from stuff. And when your opponents cast spells and so on. And then you regen mana, which is cool, because you might need it later. Sword Saint, what does Sword Saint do?
They concentrate, and whenever you do a successful thing, you gain a concentration point. If you do something that spends mana, then you can do stuff with that. Yep.
Yeah, and you spend. Then we have independent jobs, which are jobs where you can take them, but they are not part of any of the main ones, so you cannot pick 3 independent jobs.
Yeah.
But these are still more Astrologian, Chocobo Knight, Crown's Guard, Axis.
Yeah, this is the. Do we want to have a purple dragon knight? Then it goes here.
Yeah. If you want to make Oriange, you will have to pick White Mage and then Astrologian.
Exactly.
For the remainder of the encounter, when you expend a card for Constellation's Boon, you may treat that card as a knight. Interesting. I don't know what that means, but it's pretty high.
Yeah, you draw cards, and you have fun with those cards. And the thing is you roll dice, and then those dice are treated as your cards, and then you expend them on constellation effects. Yeah, it's really straightforward. Like, I love the design space of this one, too.
Yeah. Chocobo Knight, but you're a mounted combatant. That's what that says.
That's it. That's simple.
Crown's Guards, you, I think, work with another person really well. Okay.
Yeah, you link up with other people,
Yeah. Exorcist, well, we don't like ghosts over here, I guess. Ghostophobic character.
You can revert somebody's HP to the value they had previous turns.
This is really cool. This is really cool. Yeah, cost you a big thing. It's fine. It's cool. Do it. Nah, you didn't cost your mana. Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's so good. Like,
this
is the that didn't happen class.
Yeah,
which
I love it for also, of course, for you took a big hit. Nah, no, you didn't. This is like taking damage is cringe. This is Scholar from Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yeah.
Guardian, you gain soul power when you succeed to dodge. Take damage, you gain 1 soul power. You do not gain soul power from taking damage after failed dodge or parry. Or that's to 0 at the end of an encounter. When you're making a weapon attack, you may spend 1 soul power to add an additional damage die.
Yeah, it is the traditional, I get hit, I hit you back harder. That's it. Which, fine, it can be a complete class. That's one thing that's the big advantage of all this. Why? What?
Like, it's really cool because
it's so dumb.
It's not a gun, it's a hammer.
I know.
It's such a natural fit to take this as your like 2nd or 3rd class when you have main classes all about being in the front line taking damage.
Oh yeah.
It's good design again. And this is but yes, like a big the issue I have with it is that it's like, okay, so if these are like if this is a gun thing, right? This is a big revolver barrel or magazine. And this is your big hammer that ignites it. Are these things under the ring are they also charges, or is only the 6 in the middle charges? The artist did not know what a revolver is. I'm sorry.
That's just weird.
Clearly someone must spend too much time in Praetorium in Final Fantasy 14.
Oh god, no. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Big gun hammer. But I mean, we know what a gunbreaker is. You have a sword for a knife, and then it's also a gun.
Yeah, you can have a gun knife. Oh my god, that blows me away.
Like the top of the hammer, and then it rotates. Yeah, maybe. Warp strike and some of temporary weapon attack may target any opponent regardless of your weapon's template. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is I know what the rules are, and I'm going to break them class with regards to formation and combat and flying and yada yada.
This game has a frontline backline system, basically.
Yeah.
And you can just ignore that. And then if you miss, and then I can try again. It's also really cool.
Oh, so good. Like, they do more with one line than a whole paragraph does in 5.05. Like, they just do. I think that's the main thing that drew me in about this. Is just like they get it. Just get to the fucking chase. Make it good and make it quick and make it snappy.
Magitech Knight gets cool armor stuff.
Cool armor. Yeah.
Merchant, well, you can certainly do deals.
You can play Seth.
And you can throw money at people and make it do damage, which is really something cool.
You make it rain.
And the Mimic is, what is the Mimic? You basically take other people's stuff and use it.
Yep. It's the clown from Final Fantasy VI.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Spirit Master. This
is your condition effect.
Yeah, you juggle conditions between allies and enemies, which is also really cool. Like but you debuffed my tank. No, you got debuffed. Haha. And there we are. That's all your classes. And if you doesn't have ideas on how to combine them in a cool way, I certainly do.
That's the thing. After reading all that, you should have some idea of what would be cool that goes together. Yeah. Like there's nobody who doesn't.
Really, for first time theory crafting / reading this book, the difficulty should be in arriving at only 3 classes you want to pick.
Mm-hmm.
Because there should be half of these should be interesting to you in some way. Because I would be very interested in making a 2-class combo with a 3rd class as a wild card in there as well.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of thing, right? Like a 3rd class. I would pick my 3rd class almost against type to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something I can't do that in many games.
No, you really can't.
Again, the only other one is Fabula Ultima, or I guess classless systems like Shadowrun, of course, allow you to play against, play whatever combo you want, but...
Yep. It's rare to see this in a level-based system, I guess we should clarify.
Yeah.
Because it's very common to see this in the systems where you just spend XP to get abilities and things.
I would argue...
Vampire, especially.
I would argue that in games like Vampire, Shadowrun, actually it's also pretty difficult to get the combo thing, because the idea is, of course, if I pick Scholar, Scholar wasn't one of them. If I pick White Mage,
Scholar is one of them.
Is it? Oopsie. But okay. Anyway, if I pick White Mage, I'm going to be really good at healing, right?
Yeah.
And if I want to be really good at healing in Shadowrun, I'll struggle to be equally as good at 2 other big things in that to start. It's not going to be very easy. No. And same kind of true for Vampire as well. You can develop yourself there more freely, of course, but in this game gives you the package, right? It gives you the guarantee, or it tells you, at least. We haven't played it, so I can't say it guarantees this. That if you pick these cool classes, you're going to be cool in these particular ways. It's going to be very useful to you. This is nice,
Very nice.
And then we come to skills, which we kind of gloss over, but we must mention one thing about them. Every single skill you have is based on one or two attributes. So if you have acrobatics, you can base them on vigor or on agility. Meaning if you are really it's not, vigor is your hit point stat. So it's con-based acrobatics. You are Zangief versus you are Yuri. Talk Street Fighter terms. And then athletics can be based on vigor or on vitality.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. And this is cool as fuck, in my opinion. This is a really cool little thing.
That's a good design space.
Because it makes it more likely that you can do more things. And it's not... What I really hate about D&D, it's one of the worst things they never fixed, is, you don't have stat in this one thing. Usually it's dex. Well, you can't jump. You can't sneak. You can't do anything. Why? Why is it so binary? Why is it based on the one thing? And the only exception is always You want to intimidate someone? Well, it's charisma, but you might be able to do strength if your DM allows it. Sometimes.
That's the only one, yeah.
Like, does it make sense at all times that acrobatics based on vigor versus agility? Well, yes and no, right? Acrobatics probably in this game can climb a wall. And then if you do it with agility, you look really like cool jumping around and stuff. While a guy based on vigor is more like free climbing it. Like finding the right hold and pulling themselves up and holding on a tiny little thing. And it's more like the how do I get there than the, well, do I have the one thing the game says I need? And I just like it. I just like this a lot. Like, this is such a cool little thing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
The idea also that you would do, okay, so I will just take presence as the best example of this actually at this point. Everybody wants your diplomacy and your intimidate to be based around charisma. But that just really deletes the people who want to play somebody who impresses everybody with their intellect, mind, in the case of this system. And the thing is that you know people like that in real life. You've been around engineers, you've been around doctors, you've been around this and that. And the thing is, this game recognizes that that exists. Even good old World of Darkness has absolutely no allowance for that design space. None. They have a whole category of charisma, manipulation, and appearance, and they demand that you use it.
It's actually vigor. Vigor is actually the strength stat.
Vigor is strength, yeah.
I missaid it then, but it's still kind of true what I said.
Still good for what you said, yeah. It's good.
I also agree with what you said, of course. Like, it's... It shouldn't be that. Like, it's fine to be strict about it in a game, like, let's say... Vampire Shadowrun, whatever. I feel it's more fine there, because you have 8 or 9 stats, and you have, like, way more skills. But in a game like, again, D&D, where the game itself is like, well, you can only have a +2 in like 3 things. After that, you are just a dude. But then I have to make the choice to be bad at stuff forever.
Yeah. The other half of it is that these game systems, they demand that you invest in a certain stat so that you can do good thing and fight. Whereas the other systems that we're talking about, the fight is not the only thing.
Yes.
And even in that fight, there are other things that you would do.
Yes.
That don't rely on I hit thing or I cast spell.
Yes, true.
But even then, like in that design space, when you're looking at, let's shadow on the example. Okay, I'm a shaman. I use charisma for drain. That's still like you make your character revolve around that to some degree.
Yeah.
But we're not going to sit here and go, okay, roll charisma to remember this, because it doesn't make sense. Like, you can invest in logic and charisma at the same time, as you said, because it isn't you only get +2 to 3 things. That's it. Bye.
Yes, it's true.
So when you want to limit things in that regard, when you want to have this concept of, but we have to have the ability scores be balanced, then you got to make them more loosey-goosey like this. You've got to. You just have to.
Yes.
And the more we move towards this and the more we move away from, hey, no, this is rock solid, it's this, the better. And there's not many skills here either. They also introduced the concept of skill defense, which is just your skill bonus +10. So that's like the defense if you're defending against somebody doing something against you involving that skill.
Yeah.
This can come up in a lot of situations, but they just have it there as a concept, and I'm like, wow, somebody finally did it. Like, I'm balancing on this beam, but I'm not doing anything else. I don't roll anything. Instead, somebody's rolling to knock me off, so they roll against my acrobatics defense. Ta-da!
Yes.
Done.
What I also enjoy is a freeform knowledge skill thing, because I hate that, like, in, especially again, D&D direct comparison, right? it's so stupid how Arcana is just. If you can pick one knowledge skill, you pick Arcana because it's about magic. You know it's gonna come up. History? Well, if I don't know it, I'm gonna ask some NPC. It doesn't fucking matter usually. Like, it's not really interesting either to know history. Because per definition, it's something that already happened that you can then recite or have the DM tell you about. And then there's even worse skills in D&D than history. Like, yeah. But in this, they give you a few like official skills, and they give you free-form knowledge and free-form interests. And then you can use the stuff you know to maybe identify things and maybe know law about them. Which makes way more sense. It is way better.
It's so good. It flat out is.
Yeah.
And then they have the concept of bidding games,
Yeah.
which I didn't read too hard into, but it's basically like similar to doing clocks, except you're using tokens, and whoever gets the most tokens.
Yeah. Like, it's basically you use the skills every turn that you would like. And if one side has enough accrued successes versus the other, that side wins. Like, you interrogate someone, either they crack or they don't, stuff like that. And you can use this system, and within the interrogation, you have like specific things you can do. Persuasion is kind of the same thing, but different actions.
This is an evolution of what 4th edition did with skill challenges, where you roll skills repeatedly to try to get a result.
Yes.
And I like systems like this. Like, I don't even care if this system is good or bad or perfect.
Yes.
Like, just the fact that it exists is good.
And there's obviously also like you can use this, you don't have to. This is something for... Oh, it's actually going to be a scene where let's bust this out. And then I'm going to sit there at the table and be like, okay, it's turn 5 of this negotiation. I am going to hornswoggle again.
Yeah.
Because how often in your life do you have the ability to hornswoggle, folks? I ask you.
No, not very often. Yeah. The only time you have to do it is when you're wrestling, usually.
Yeah. And then usually the other guy's hornswoggle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's a bit short with you.
Yeah. And then they have special dueling rules, which is also cool.
Yes.
Like, well, we don't want dueling to just be a normal fight.
Oh.
So we are going to have different different kinds of duels. It's also already cool. You can spellsling duel in this, and then they give you rules for how to do that. And that's nice. And doing an investigation also works kind of like this.
Yes.
Where you just gain tokens and you spend the tokens for advantages and knowledge and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's cool.
It's cool. They had other things added onto that, like even if like looking for some place to spend the night in a dangerous town even falls under investigation as one of the examples, which I love that. Oh my god, that's good.
Yes. And then parkouring is another one where you use...
This comes up in so many games. Holy shit.
Tyler, thank you for the raid. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, discussing the Final Fantasy RPG.
Yes.
An official one. And we are liking it, even though it's a D&D game. And then we get to the thing that I dreaded the most in this book, which is feats.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
I know that's more Sundred's thing, so.
So how do feats work? Well, you gain a few at the start of the game. You gain 3 feats at first level, 1 racial and 2 bonus feats. And then you gain new feats every 3rd level. So you will end up having 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them at the end.
Yeah, 9.
Which is more than 5e has.
And this, I think, like, okay, so we've looked at games that have done feats. We've looked at so many iterations of it. We've played with it in our tabletop games constantly. This is a fine iteration of it because they scale it down. None of these are really complicated.
Yeah.
They're more like Lancer talents because they're really not that complicated.
Yep. I like stuff like Bait the Dragon. When you make a parry roll, you may intentionally fail the roll and make a counter attack after the attack's damage is resolved. Yeah, just take a hit to do more damage. Like, this is immediately something that some classes would take.
Yeah.
And it's not just get a +1 with sword.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these are like enablers.
Yeah.
Like eye for an eye, if you acquire a negative condition but manage to damage the one who inflicted it in the following round, you reduce the condition's duration. Stuff like that. Like, cool. Like, it's just stuff that enables stuff or makes one thing stuff that you do better, but not in a just +1.
Yeah. Fighting Spirit, you just get temporary HP at every start of every fight, which is nice.
Yeah.
And MP as well. Oh, temporary MP, that's cool.
Yes. See, you nailed on to finally one of the things of the system I like. Temporary MP? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll just gain some temporary MP. Again, +1 damage die when weapon was attack at full HP. Yeah. Like, you're gonna like, these are not complex. It's a very quick to take, and they actually present a good bonus, which is nice.
Yeah, this reads as people who were very tired of the bullshit, because they just wanted feats to be straightforward again.
Yeah.
If you look at the Pathfinder First Edition wiki, and you just go and pick a random feat, you're going to hate life. Like, it's just every time I just look at it and go, okay, if you're carrying a gunpowder weapon on a Thursday, then just shut up. No.
Yeah, the thing of this game is, in Pathfinder, you still have the stupid feat trees where you have to take the shitty 5 feats to get at level 17 the one feat you actually care about, which really sucks. But in this game, we're like, at the start of the game, first level character, you may perform parry action against spells targeting you.
Yeah.
Let's go. A parry spells.
Let's go.
This is the thing I do. I just picked that.
You don't have to take Improved Parry and, I don't know, Luke Parry and Rick Parry and all the other parries.
Yeah.
Just take this.
Are all of these equally as good? No. But they might be very good specifically for a build that you are doing. Like, for example, the second chance here, right? Once per scene, when you reduce to 0 points, you retain 1 hit point. Not very good on its face. However, if you are that barbarian class we looked at, that gains even more bonus if they are at 25% or less hit points.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're constantly living on the edge of that, where you're constantly at, like, if you have 100 hit points at 25 or less, that's also 100 hit points, assuming you're already like higher level. Picking this is super good because you get one get out of jail free card where all of your shit's still on. And you can also, if this triggered, your healer knows, fuck, Bob needs healing for once.
Exactly.
So it's super worth in that instance only. But yeah, that's fine. It's a feat. It's supposed to be like a little thing you take that gives you an edge for your character. And it isn't a complete no-brainer like certain things in 5e are.
Yeah.
Where everybody just takes the same fucking feats.
Like, do I want to take Second Chance or do I want to take Mighty Dodge? Like, there's a design space for each of them, and there's a set of 3 classes that work perfectly better for one or the other. Like, that's the design space that we're in, is 57 classes, you take 3 of them, and then you get 3 feats at the start. Which 3 feats do I want? Holy shit, I don't know. I'm a little overwhelmed, but...
And one of them is racial, so I guess you pick 2 that are in this list, but whatever. I'm not sure how the racial stuff even works, honestly.
The racial stuff is you pick from 3 categories. You pick 1 out of the 3 categories. So it's actually extremely broad.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's really good. It's just kind of like how the origin skill that you get from your race, either you pick from 2 or you just get the 1, and it's just like, well, I guess I'm really good at riding, and that's fine because ride comes up more often than you think in this game.
And that's like, again, if we think about 5e, where it's like, oh, is there a singular feat that for my chosen weapon as like a fighting character? Like, do I take Polar Mastery? Yeah, I'll take it just because it exists. Because it's the only one I can even take that it does anything for me.
Yep,
and
exactly.
Then D&D is also like, well, you could also just have stat increases. Those are also a possibility that take the form, like the place of feats. So would you like a permanent +1 to something, or would you like a feat? In this game, it's like, nah, just pick feats. How attributes go up, if they go up at all, don't worry about it. Pick these feats right now. Because the choice is not interesting between those. Because usually, actually, picking the +1 to 2 stats is better than picking the feat.
Yeah, it usually is.
In D&D, and that's sucks because that's boring.
It's so funny that, like, I'm not even going to go on about this for very long, but I'll just say it. The design space of D&D has regressed so hard to the point where they just don't even see that having to pick between ability score increase and feat is a bad thing to force somebody to do.
Yeah.
We've regressed. I don't like it. If we're going to have feats, have us always get them if they're available. Don't make it a choice between feat or other thing. Just have them be a thing.
Yep. Critical feats. Every time you crit, you might activate one of these. Also really cool.
Oh, yeah. I like critical feats. And then they have melee combat feats, and then they have more feats for those.
I can already see my character doing spell guard and arrow guard and parrying spells and arrows. Yeah. It's just cool.
So fucking cool. It'd be such. There's a lot of space in this game for making a tank that feels cool.
Yeah.
It just is. And that's another thing. They classify the idea of ambushing, which is like sneak attacking, as just being your initiative is higher than the other guy. That's it.
Yep.
Nothing else. Yep. You don't need to think, am I within 5 feet and carrying a light weapon, and is there another ally next within 5 feet of them, and blah, 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 blah. No. Just my initiative higher. I do it.
There's, of course, a space where that might suck, because, we're only fighting one guy and he wrote higher initiative than me. Yeah, it sucks. But that's one fight. Usually you're going to have a fight with several enemies, and then you're going to essentially focus on those that are lower in initiative than you.
Well, but that's the other thing. They thought of that. There are ways to get your initiative re-rolled or improved in a fight. So there's that. They play around with that being its own little game, which I'm just like, good. That's the space we want.
And then we have equipment feats even, which is like you have better armor, stuff like that. Your loot threshold is increased by 1. It's also fun. Just get more loot in there.
I've always been a fan of feats and concepts like that, but ever since I think it was Fallout 1, where you could just literally take a thing where you just get more loot from encounters.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like that though, because it's just like in the real world, there are people who will notice more things. It's not like it just those things magically appeared. It's more like, but I noticed that he had an extra revolver on his ankle.
Yep.
I like that.
Adventures, luck, roll, convert loot into stake. Yeah, this game doesn't like. This game has ways for where we're like, you aren't going to be counting gold pieces on your sheet that very much.
No,
it's gonna we looted stuff, and now we can change that over into another currency, basically.
Which is good. Like it doesn't have to be the one for. There is a design space where you do track your new yen, and I use the word new yen intentionally. And then there are other design spaces where you don't.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
And even Shadowrun is like, well, would you like to spend your new yen to gain karma because you're a wizard and you don't need money?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, please. Exactly. Especially adepts. Like, oh my god.
Oh my god, adepts. Huh.
Yeah.
Larceny rolls.
Like, also take note of this stuff, D&D. Like, reliable talent is simultaneously the best and worst thing you ever came up with.
It is.
If you don't know, folks, it's the level 11, I think, or 10 rogue feature, which says if you're proficient with a skill, every roll of 9 or below is treated as a 10.
Yeah.
So you always have the 10 in things, which leads to the skill monkey rogue, who takes as many skills as they can from many sources as they can, and then succeed at everything all the time because, well, if you are skilled at stuff in that game, you're usually going to have a pretty good total. And then you get stuff like, oh, what's your sneak roll? Oh, my sneak roll is 27. But you rolled a 3. Yeah, I can't roll below 27. Yeah, stupid.
Yeah.
Stuff like this is stupid. Way better because you can rely on this working once per scene, but then still after that you have to actually like live it with the plebs like the rest of us. And if you roll bad, you roll bad.
And then like if that doesn't exist with the fail turned into a success, they have the flip die mechanic.
Yeah.
Where you just flip the die over to the opposite result. And like that's way better than the oh no, it's always at least a 10. That's
yeah. And that's a limited resource and everyone can do it.
Yeah. I love it. So good.
And you have spellcasting feats. Like there's a legit ton of feats here. But as you can see, it's very rare that they build on top of each other, and if they do, it's usually just pick a better version of this feat again, if you want to.
Yeah. And if it's not that, then it builds on whatever the thing was, rather than being like dodge and mobility, where it's like, why, what does mobility have to do with dodge? I don't know.
But you must take them to take trip attack later.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
And then that to get spring attack, and then
okay. And then we get to combat, which we're not gonna go super deep in. You kind of know what this looks like. So
you know what it looks like.
If you are, here's how it works, right? If I'm melee attacking from the back, I'm fucked. Can't attack. If I'm melee attacking from the front, I can attack the enemy front. If I'm attacking from the back with a ranged weapon, a dueling weapon, I can attack the front, and if I attack from the front, I can attack the front. So immediately you're like, wait, so a guy with a melee weapon can't attack the back ever? And the answer is, yeah, let's get a second weapon. Game allows you that very easily.
Yeah.
But if you're built around using melee weapons, then you might need ways to, pull people into melees, maybe. There's probably a thing you can do for that. Or your allies help with that. Or you take that guy that can attack anyone at all times. It doesn't care about this. The guy who doesn't have to know about this. Great weapon. From the back can attack the front, and from the front can attack anyone. It's also cool. Like if you have Buster Sword, it just doesn't matter. And basically, mostly the answer is if you're in the back row, you can only attack the front row, except with short weapon and
long weapon.
Long weapon, interesting. You can't shoot melee. You can only shoot the back from the front line. It's also like, okay, sure. It then like moving to front or back is like a thing you can do during your turn. So it's not like you are like stuck forever. Just a little system that's cool.
I love the system actually. It winds up being good because it's again back to choice. Then there's actually a choice to things. There's actually the keyword for your weapon matters in a way beyond does it qualify me for this feat.
Yes,
this is what I want. That's what I want.
You can do stuff that you would expect that you know from other things, but they explain it way quicker here.
Way quicker.
Yeah. Athletics versus skill defense targets the first knockback on direct hit instead of damage. Or knockdown, sorry, not knockback. Blah blah blah. You can cast, you can parry, blah. Okay, what's a dodge and parry? Because they come up sometimes.
Those are reactions.
Yes, reactions are combat maneuvers you may take outside of your turn in combat. These are optionally declared when you are targeted with an attack. You must be the primary target. If you are not the primary target, exceeding your target of a multi-target effect, then you may not take a reaction. Reactions are unlimited, however, on a single triggering effect or attack, you may only ever make one reaction. A successful dodge or parry reaction prevents all damage that would have been inflicted. Really cool.
Yep.
And it's either a contested attack versus skill roll. On a success, suffer no damage. On a fail, damage inflicted ignores DR from armor. So if you don't make the dodge, it's bad.
Yep. It's a risk.
It's a risk, which is also really good. But you can do it every time, which is nice.
Yep.
You may inflict damage. And parry, you damage people with your weapon.
Yep.
And if you fail again, the armor is ignored. I think it's cool. I like it. And limit break activation is also an action, so you have to really think about, do I want to do this right now?
Yeah. It's a very good design space. I keep using that term here, but that's one of the big things about this book is that you realize when you're reading this, oh, this is built on the backs of 5th edition, 4th edition, 3rd edition, and there's some 2nd edition in here too. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. And the reason why it's fine is because you're doing something different with it in a way that's significant enough for it to be its own thing, its own concept, its own thought space.
Yes.
Because the front and back row thing works fine. Yeah. Delineating things in other ways that have been delineated so far works fine. Like the damage modification section here, holy shit.
Yep.
Like, it surprised me because it's completely different from what you'd expect.
Yes. I like, so what's damage modification? Well, we have like fire and ice, earth and wind. They are opposites. Yep. So if you hit a fire guy with fire attack, they're going to probably have absorption, heal from this. Yep. But if you hit them with an ice attack, it's really bad for them. And they might also have damage protection, if damage immunity, like an earth elemental. You can still probably throw like a rock as an earth elemental, and it might damage it, but you're probably going to have to go through some damage protection to do that. Uh-huh. You know, because the damage there isn't just the element coming at you, it's like the kinetic energy. Yeah. And then you have damage reduction, which is like reduce any incoming damage by this amount. Uh-huh. Vulnerability is...
Actually, it's not that at all.
What?
It reduces a number of damage dice equal to the number of damage reduction to ones. Right. Yeah, it's again, it's different what you expect, but in a good way.
Yeah, it's correct. Sorry, I misremembered this. Yes.
No, you're good.
In this, damage reduction is going to, instead of you rolling dice, you're going to have to make some of your dice be ones.
Yes.
Which is cool.
I love it. I love that. Yep.
If damage reduction is listed as X, it's all damage just reduced to ones. Yeah. And vulnerability show max results instead of min results. Reduce the number of targets, damage reduction equal to damage spike value. And damage spike, okay, you can spike through damage resistance.
Yeah.
Or reduction rather. Yeah. This is a very deep system. Very, very complex, and I like it.
Mm-hmm. And it's complex without it being add +2 on Thursday.
Yeah. The following is a priority list to determine what damage modifiers are resolved first if multiple modifiers are applied. So if a guy has absorption, it doesn't matter if you can spike the damage. They're going to absorb the damage. This is also really good. But yeah, it makes sense. You absorb an attack that just can't damage you. I'm a fire guy. I can't damage by fire. But then if you can spike the damage through, you're going to do that before you reduce it or before vulnerabilities matter, which is nice. Yeah. Characters with 0 are knocked out, can no longer take actions. You can revive them though, maybe. And death is not the assumed outcome. You're KO'd. The entire party be KO'd. They've lost the encounter. There may be negative consequences such as failure. However, the severity, these consequences up to your play group to decide. Yes, there isn't a death here. Which, hey D&D. Hey D&D. Fuck your death mechanics. They suck.
They really suck. I just hate them.
I really, really, really hate the you got knocked down. Well, roll d20s. Maybe you die now. Stuff. It's just a cheap thrill. I will admit, when this was new, I liked it because it felt like, we aren't just dead, because you used to be just either KO'd or dead depending on how many minus hit points you have. Blah blah. It's also a clunky, shitty system.
Yeah.
But the longer I've played 5e, the less I enjoy it, because it just ends up being we all know about the revolving door effect, where you get just, you're down, but I heal you now. Because we essentially just prevented damage to the party by you getting downed and over damage being ignored.
Yep.
And so the only recourse for the DM, once the group really gets into the swing of that, is to just murder someone by hitting them once they're down. And that sucks. It's a bad thing, and it feels antagonistic. In this, you're at 0 while you're knocked out. Does it mean I'm dead? No, it means you're knocked the fuck out. You're not able to fight. I can even say, you are too tuckered out to fight. You can even say things, maybe. Like just roleplay that you are really out of it. And then they can still heal you, but they need a special spell for it to revive in combat. That exists. But it's expensive, and it's only going to be so good. And then your white mage is out of mana, and then you still die, right?
Yep.
Unless you're a flower merchant, apparently. Yeah, we don't think about that too hard.
No.
I guess if you're like impaled through your whole body with a big sword, they can't just revive you. Which also makes a kind of sense. Well, and we have conditions. Let's go over this. Like, this book is so thick that we have to like just haul ass a little bit more.
Yeah, we do.
If you're battered, you can't recover HP. If you're berserking, you gain damage spiking 1, but you also have to attack each turn. Blah blah. There's a lot of conditions. You can inflict these. You can get these inflicted on you. You can even sometimes take these on voluntarily. There's also positive conditions for which all of this is also true.
Oh yeah.
And then we have spellcasting. And the following classes gain spells. Black Mage gets Black Magic, Blue Mage, blah, 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 blah.
There's so many. There's like, when people talk about Pathfinder 2nd Edition, they keep going on about, there's 4 classifications of spells now. Isn't that cool? Points at Final Fantasy RPG that these guys just, made.
Yeah. And how this works is also different from what you'll think, because there isn't a Melf's Acid Arrow at 2nd level here. How this works is you declare your spell rank, which you can technically say a pretty high rank even as a 1st level character. You declare it between 1 and 9. This then says how high a roll you have to make to get the spell out. But you can increase your own bonus to this roll, which usually is a flat roll of a d20, by spending more mana points. So there should be a table here somewhere. Yeah, here, exactly.
Yeah, it is.
So a 1st level spell we cast on a 3, which is... We're going to do that, probably. We probably don't need to spend mana. Except sometimes you will have wanted to spend mana because you rolled a 2. And then you might have to flip the die or something to make this happen. And then for each spell rank, it goes up by 3 points. So if you want to sure thing bring out your 9th level spell, you will have to spend 26 mana points. Which is quite a bit. That's like 3 levels of your mana. So you're going to think a little bit about this and maybe take some risks and hopefully have maybe a class ability that gives you something that you can use on this table.
Yep.
Because a spell that doesn't come out, terrible, and also I think the mana is to spend. So yeah. Roll dice for damage. Dice have an explosive effect when they actually roll. Oh yeah, this is one way you get more damage as a mage. So any damage dice you get from this, they auto explode. For the purpose of power, so shipping are not normally treated as explosive. So, what this also means...
the explosive range increases every 5th level. Yeah, that's right.
What this also means, the explosive range, right? So at 5th level it's a 7 or 8, and then at 6, 5, 1. This also means if you hit an enemy, and you have that thing that one or more of your dice is the maximum result, that die explodes. So on top of it doing max damage, it will also be rolled again. From at least that's how I understood this.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thinking was done for the magic to make it good, but then also like make it reasonable at the same time. Because I'm going to say it here. I have not said this before in Tabletop Talk. It's very controversial. I'm not a fan of I spend spell slot, you make saving throw. I don't have to roll anything but the damage. I'm not a fan of that. I like my caster's skill to come into it at some point.
Yes. The reason spellcasters are OP in D&D is that if you have some game knowledge, you can sit there like, okay, I know this enemy is weak to fire damage, so I'm going to use my fire spells on him. And I usually don't roll shit at all to do that. Like some spells you have to roll to hit, but there's many where it's just a saving throw, if even that. Like sometimes you just web the Tarrasque. Not sure if that's still a thing in 5.05, but who cares? Like, so sometimes if you just know the counter spell to something, you are going to be really useful in the fight that's happening right now. Meanwhile, a fighter will always have to roll damage and roll to hit every turn. So even if your like to hit roll is like on a 5+, and you have 3 attacks, you might have a turn where you just roll a 1, 2, and 2, and a 3, and you feel completely stupid. Meanwhile, the wizard is basically always going to get something, because they are also like on top of it being saving throw stuff. Every spell will say, well, yeah, it's gonna do like half damage if you do the saving throw. Yeah. Unless they're like a rogue, it's always going to apply. Like, don't worry, wizard, we gotcha. Because you spent a slot, you have limited slots. Ugh, it's boring. Yeah.
There's also the factor of, well, I guess they made their saving throw with regards to something like Fireball, but then it's swingy because then you go and you cast Dominate Monster, and they keep making their saving throw, and you're just like, well, fuck, I'm just literally throwing away my spell slot. It's either spells. Or, there's no in between.
And then you have the real shit, which is, you did Dominate Monster on my monster? No, legendary resistance, fuck you.
Yeah.
Which
it just feels bad all around.
Which feels bad for the DM to do because it's cheap, but it's also the only way for them to have a boss monster, because if you could just roll good one time to neutralize the monster, then the game would be bad. Like, it would be annoying if combat could just end like that all the time. And yeah, that's why I do like this system quite a bit. Here is also high magic, that's a little rule. Spells of 8th or 9th circle or rank, whatever. You have to have a special item that teaches you them. You don't just learn them from in the course of playing the game normally. Which is doesn't really come up low. Does this come up early game? Not really, because of this list. Like, casting super high level stuff is very expensive in this game.
Yeah.
So you are not going to be casting 9th level spells willy-nilly at 2nd level. Like, you might do it as a story thing once, I guess. Yeah. And here you can alter several types of magic, refer to the spells innate. These kinds of spells utilize the casting roll differently than normal. So others, you do not spend MP when named spells or declared rank. Instead, you make a casting roll, and the rank of the spell's highest multiple of 3 is Well, you may spend MP in the following manner. Oh, yeah. Okay. So these always come out, but you roll to see how big spell comes out, basically.
Yeah. This is your Lena inverse type of casting.
Yes.
Where you point at something, you yell explosion, and you don't know how big the explosion is going to be, but you can shape it somewhat.
Yes.
And that has its place too. And I just have to say, after looking through this and then looking at you, Nura, wow, we found a second game where it has an MP system that works fine.
Yeah.
It's great. Because so many MP systems suck. They just do this and
you know what it took, Drake? And this is why this one where you can't flange it onto D&D. What it took is them making their own spell list.
Yeah. It took saying, no, we're not going to have Fireball in our game.
Yeah. I mean, they do have it, but it works differently. It doesn't work like the Fireball in the book. Because...
Exactly.
What the mistake that D&D systems that try to flange it on again make is to say, well, first level spell is 1 energy point, the second level spell is 3, and then the third level is 5, and then so on and so forth, whatever. And then you sit there like, so I have a total of that many energies, so I can cast 18 fireballs. Cool, thanks. Because you value certain spells way higher than others. But in this, the spells are like balanced against one another. So you can actually say they are objectively kind of worth the same. And yeah, sure. If I'm not fighting earth monsters, I don't need earth resistance right now. But it's still cool to have earth resistance.
Yeah, it's cool to have it conceptually,
yeah. And cool, like, in the moments it's useful, but that's the same as saying, oh, you don't need resistance this fight. Yeah, but whatever. Big changes from other game from D&D is your damage spells will always look like this, where the rank might be different, sadly, but basically they do between up to 3d12 damage, like, or less. And with all the rules we've discussed, this is more than 3d12, but the base damage is way lower. And then it here, like, this is AoE. All enemies get this damage. This is single target. Area 1 plus 24 target. Okay, no. Okay, you throw it at several guys in the same area, actually. Yeah. And then, again, the max damage is always 3d12, and lower things do less. But you can cast these lower, like, which is its own interesting little thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then...
I just love the design space of this. Also, everything is predicated on the notion of risk-reward, which is one thing that I keep complimenting 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade for, is the risk-reward of make a rouse check. This is similar to that, except you're bidding your mana.
Yes.
I really want to cast that rank 9 spell. Wow, I only have 20 mana, so fuck, I've got to roll a 7 or better.
Yep. And then you have stuff like here, like Blaze Aegis, right? Gain damage reduction X fire. So all fire damage is once now for you. For a few rounds only. Because all the defensive stuff only lasts a short time.
Yep.
It's not meant to last for I don't know, hours, like with certain spells in D&D.
Yep.
And that's fine, because if everything is quick, like roll over, then you know it's only for this fight. Because the problem with D&D's stuff is, if the spell says 10 minutes, that's 60 combat turns. That's way longer than we needed for combat. So how long does it actually last, DM? Is this 10 minutes already, DM? Is this 10 minutes already, DM? Is it 10 minutes already, DM? Because I must know, because my resistance ends, and then I have to recast it or whatever.
Yep.
It's annoying to talk in combat turns and then also in minutes. It should all be either or.
Yep, that's why the concept of the scene as a unit is so important.
Yeah.
And this game does mention scenes, which all modern games should.
Yes.
The concept of a scene is very, very understood at this point.
Yes. And here's my only thing for this book. They all work the same, guys. You didn't have to write 8 sections for the elements for the Black Mage. But okay, since you learn these individually, kind of, like you don't have all of these available, it makes a bit more sense to have them listed individually, but it's also still like a...
it takes up a lot of space.
It takes a lot of space. Although this book isn't chunky as this, but I like as well, there's certain spells in here, like in the middle of things, that are just like a limit break. You can cast Bioja, which is limit break colors, as a 9th level spell, which does 3d12 poison damage, and then poison 7, which poisons everyone for like a lot. But yeah, spells all look like this. And it's going to only really change in terms of like use. Like enchantments also like give you for next roll. Like, these are all pretty predicated on use up quickly.
Yeah.
And then Brave Recovery Magic, which also like in the same vein, the most recovery will do 3d12. Meaning, interestingly enough, that it's way better to drink potions than to get cured. But cures work on several targets, so
yeah, that's the
how
thing.
They become good.
They make the design space such that your spells can scale nicely.
Yes, sure. Elemental spells. I wanted to get to illusion maybe or something. Offensive Ice, Offensive Lightning, Shadow. Wind.
And weirdly enough, this is just something I just thought of. You could use this to run a superhero game because the 57 classes all correspond to like a superhero thing.
That's true.
It would work fine for that.
Yeah, it would work okay. Physical offensive spells like Goblin Punch. Punch someone like a goblin would. Condition spells. Like there's a shit ton of spells. I'm really wanting to find the illusion magic though. Time spells. Initiative bonus. That's how you buff initiative for your rogue.
Yep.
Or for yourself if you just take that for yourself. Prevents an effective spell targeting the participant effect with clockwork timer for 1 round. So you can just say nope, you can't target me with this. It's also really cool. You can delay conditions. Like this is kind of thing I really enjoy.
Yeah, me too.
Make opponents act later. Haste. In a haste positive condition, which probably gives you more actions. Illusion. Like you would think illusion does illusions, but it has confusion and stuff in it.
Yep.
And confusion, if you know any of these games, is really good. Also like entangle and so on. Like it's all of the. It's a lot of stuff you can inflict with this. That goes way above. You see a dragon. Do you run away or not?
Yeah. It feels very much like a Mesmer from Guild Wars 2.
Yes. I agree. And then you have reaction spells where you can be like, I'm a cool red mage. I'm gonna react and increase my and cast a mirror image as a reaction instead of just casting mirror image on your turn and then hoping you get hit. It's cool. And there's like, without like don't really want to belabor this more, but there's a lot of spells. There's a ninjutsu as well. There's Eidolon actions for summoning, but then they also have Eidolon Like that's the island actually summoning, but the other guy gets a different kind of action, which is the yokai circles, right?
Yeah.
And
You have Gilgamesh at home, yeah.
Yeah, or Ifrit, or the Knights of the Round, or Leviathan, or Odin, with eight-legged horse, Phoenix, Ramu, Shiva, Siren, Titan. And then we get to equipment. Man, I'm kind of tuckered out because there's so much here. So then
there's just so much. Like it's a lot. Like I'll just be real with everybody. It's a lot, and we would have to do like an 8-hour stream to really just like pare down and make simple characters and write stuff about them, because it's like this game has everything in it, everything that you need to run your Final Fantasy game. It does.
Absolutely.
And the concept of making your own weapon this year is very good. It's probably the best I've seen. Holy shit. They have the idea that your resources are like stakes that you can bid.
Like you're supposed to like find not necessarily like big piles of gold pieces, but you find some money which you can use directly, and you find treasure which you have to turn into stake, which you can then bid on items. Making it so that you aren't just having 500 pounds of gold in your pocket at all times.
Yeah, they're trying to avoid that as much as possible, because of the realism of this system is that they don't want you to go through the boring shopping spree of I go spend gil, I get 12 potions.
Yep.
They don't want that. That's actually contrary to the experience.
Yes. And as for how weapon building works, well, okay, you choose your damage type die. Like if you have a close range melee weapon, it does 36, and its extra effort threshold is 3. Where with 3 points of attack roll exceeds the target defense, generate 1 extra effort die. So if you take a lower die, it gets easier to gain effort, basically.
Yeah. Big takeaway in this game,
yeah. And it's true for every time here. Like a great weapon is better base damage, but the effort is 5. And then you have 3 tags you give the weapon. At least one of those will be set by the weapon type, but 1 or 2 of them will be free to pick. Sometimes they won't be. Like if you pick a whip, it's going to be swarm, traumatizing, piercing. But you could also, as from flexible weapons, pick a flail, and then it's devastating any, right? So you can have just a really big whip that does D10 damage in this game if you want to. No one's stopping you.
Yeah. You can be Quistis from Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah. And then shields also counts as weapons, because why not?
Oh my goodness, they even have musical instruments, and one of those is a paintbrush. You can be that character from Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, or you can be a Pictor from 14, Probably the same thing. And you build your weapon, and then you can do that more than once with different weapons. No one stops you for that either. Then they give you some like examples. And armor works the same way. With armor, you can pick stuff like Defiant Humanoid. If you fight a humanoid, it's going to reduce damage way more. But you're going to be like kind of fucked if you're fighting beasts only, because it doesn't do that for beasts. Which makes sense if you think about it. Like plate mail is very much designed to deflect human weapons on a human strength scale. If a bear like barrels you over while you're wearing plate mail, sure, you might live a bit longer, but you can't really fight anymore if a bear sits on top of you and is crushing the life out of you. You build your weapons, you build your armor. You pick from a lot of things, and then there's items. We'll have to go all the way back to the start to really talk about how all the item stuff works. But basically, you get certain slots which you can just fill with an item type, and then that item type is going to be available to you again, like potion. Recover 25% of your total hit points. Yeah.
And the other things in that section, you can acquire holdings. You can acquire membership in an alliance of some kind. You can do all those things. It's all there.
Yeah.
And for the magical items, they can do all kinds of shit. There's a lot of things listed there, including, hey, you want a skill from a job that you don't have? Okay, that skill's on this weapon.
Yep. It's super good build-a-bear system here.
Very good system. And they spell it all out, too. Unlike 5th edition, who said, well, these are major rare magic items. These are minor legendary magic items. And fuck you. Fuck you.
What's really cool about this is the building blocks are very open-ended. And that's the problem with D&D, where it only requires your DM to play only by the book for your choice to not pick sword as your weapon, to be stupid, for example. Classic example where, well, of course there's maybe one hammer you can have later that is good as a magic weapon if you only play with book magic. But if you should have picked sword, because then you could have a flame tongue, and then later this, that, and the other thing, and it's all swords. Because they mostly wrote swords. And meanwhile, does it make sense that it's only that? No, it does fucking not. Goblin touch the silent. Don't goblin touch the silent fingers. Yes, on that. But the last thing I wanted to get to is NPCs and how to make those. Because it's also pretty good. Because what you do, you pick a difficulty for your NPC, which ranges from normal to normal +3, to notorious +2, to boss +1, to end boss. And then that informs you about how, like, the difficulty number, which is kind of how much bonus they get, I think, almost to get here. I forgot.
That's APL's average party level. So
right.
They're notorious, an 8th level notorious is good against an 8th level party.
So an end boss is good against a 33 level party. Oh no, we might have to pick more classes. Actually, that's a good point. You could do that. You could just increase the number of classes you take to make this game more powerful. It's really weird but yeah, like, depending on what you picked, you're gonna just take the number here. Like here, we take 8th level boss, 328 points. Fair enough. And then they have an attack rating, a defense rating, and a skill defense. And then you're just going to write this out, and you are done with your character. And of course, you can be like, well, I don't want an 8th level boss. I want like 2 6th level bosses or something. And just pick them. It's fine. It's going to probably not be equivalent in the example I said, but you can find the equivalent example in here, no problem. And then they choose a category for them, which gives them a certain buff. You give them a treasure die if you want, and some modifiers, and there you go. That's a character. So then you're done already. And here's examples. Like, so look at this notorious Harryman, who has at 1st level 25 hit points, 12 magic points, attack bonus of 1, physical defense of 12, magical defense of 6, and a SD, which I forget what that is, of 12.
Skill defense.
Skill defense. Thank you.
Yep. So if somebody uses athletics to hit them, it's against the 12.
Yeah. And then you have abilities. It's enchantment, auto condition, float. Okay, he always floats, and then you guys death, eye beam, and thunder as his spells, which death sounds pretty gnarly. No vulnerabilities or resistances, but if we go on down, we see the flan has a reduction to physical, but a vulnerability to I don't know what this icon is. Not the elemental, it's the other.
Dark?
Could be dark, yeah. There's no light on this, is there? The light is here, actually. So it's probably dark. It could be dark. Yeah, why not?
Okay. Yeah. Like this all works out really well. One of the humble brags that they did for 5.05 was in the monster manual we have more variants, so you can challenge the vampire at different levels. Dude, this has it for all 20 levels. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's not hard to do. Just do a chart like this.
And to point this out as well for D&D, because I really feel like this is something they think they're doing well, which they're really not, is, hey guys, I don't want to fight the juvenile shitty little dragon because my DM wanted to have a dragon in the game at 3rd level. It's not a worthwhile fight. If I'm fighting at 3rd level, fighting a vampire, that vampire sucks. I can feel it in my bones that vampire isn't a real vampire lord. That vampire is some sort of jobber called Kevin. Okay? So don't act like these monsters are supposed to be equivalent challenges at all levels just because you can give them stats for that. It works here because they aren't like fight at Sahagin you can find a big one at 10th level, or you fight the small one at 1st level. Like where this breaks down is Ultros, because that's a guy, right? And there's also Sephiroth in here, which like guys don't. I get it, you had to put him in somewhere, like it was inevitable. But I don't really want to know what a 1st level Sephiroth is like. I would like to not fight him.
Yeah, 1st level Sephiroth at home.
Yeah, this is where I will reduce deduct this game some points, because it's like, come on, don't be like this. But
I get it. They're attempting to demonstrate how their difficulty system works.
Yeah.
Because it's the difficulty of the monster that's the important part.
Yes.
Not the level. Because the level shouldn't matter. It's always the difficulty.
Yeah. And if we like combine, like if we look at Kefka versus Sephiroth, like Sephiroth gets a lot of reductions to elemental attacks, where Kefka does not. But Kefka has other abilities and spells which say what he does versus what Sephiroth has. And Kefka, they both have basically all of the condition immunities. I don't know if there's any missing. This breaks down a bit with the bosses. Like, I would maybe not have put the bosses here this much, but whatever. But yeah, as you can see, like stats wise, they are the same. Is this perfect? I would say this is an area where I would give this game a little minus point.
Yeah.
Because I would like to have an enemy that is different a bit more, you know?
Yeah.
Like these should be base stats that we then modify somehow, ideally. Because this isn't quite enough. Because objectively, Kefka is just easier to fight than Sephiroth. Because Sephiroth has all the reductions you have to many things. And he gets multi-attack and mighty blow and stuff, which Kefka does not. Kefka's going to cast Meteor every turn.
Oh no, Kefka, come on.
But Sephiroth can also cast Meteor because they are both Final Fantasy villains, so of course they can cast Meteor.
Yeah.
So, objectively speaking, like, oh, you gain 1 NPC feat of any type, it's not the same as... Yeah, you can cast Ultima. Okay, cool. That's the one place where it's probably better. Like...
Oh no.
The system works, but I would say it works best for the monsters, and there should be maybe a different system to make the big bosses.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Because if you want it to be special, this is not how you do it.
Yeah. And also, since they went so overboard with their status conditions, it doesn't feel great that your bosses are just, oh no, immune against everything, lol. Like, doesn't really... Why, though? Why would that be the case? Why can't I bleed Sephiroth? Does he not have blood? You know? Like...
I'd like to bleed the Sephiroth, please.
This is that these guys are already way powerful. Why would you make it so that you can't use some of your tools there. I don't know. Like, this is just me talking about it at a very high level. Like, I love that Gilgamesh is here though. That's so good.
Yes.
I love Gilgamesh so much. Little goober. Man.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Pretty good book. It's
Very
definitely a
good
beta
book,
though.
yeah.
It's got some things
There's,
screwy.
Yeah,
but...
to point out the big one we found very early on is during character creation. Or was it for the stats? Was it for the stats?
Yeah, it was for hit points and mana points. It's in the table. It says 10 times vitality.
Yes.
Which, that's a lot of HP. But in the individual class descriptions, it says plus instead of times.
Like, there's two. Like, okay, yeah, because like exactly. If you go down to like warrior, which, why is it so many pages?
This is one of those books.
Yeah.
This is one of those books. Yeah.
It says here like HP level plus like 10 plus vitality. So what I think is maybe going on, that there's two possibilities that I see. First possibility is that this is just like the table up here is just like wrong, and it's not meant to be like that. Yeah. Other possibility is that this is like an initial buff that you get one time and then you follow the normal rules. So a warrior at first level would have 10 times the vitality base hit points, and then gain 10 plus vitality from his first choice of class, and then gain whatever plus vitality from his second class, because they get the feature from those. So you would start, if you have vitality 16, say, and 2 warrior classes, you would start with 56 hit points.
Yeah.
That's a possibility, but I don't know. Yeah, it could also be 26 hit points, and either is workable.
Yeah, it's workable. And that's the thing about this is, like, honestly, this is the perfect system to do you get a lot more HP and MP at the start, but then it only increases like in a smaller amount as you level. Like, this is the perfect system for that.
Yep. Arguably, with how the damage stuff works, and you can take like several dice of damage at early levels easily, or dish them out too. This might be like, this might have been an intention, but then again, the level 1 boss has 58 points, so I can't see yourself being on the level of them. So probably this is not correct. This is probably 10 plus Vit, not a Vit bonus even. Like, this Vit is +1, right? Because they don't talk about stats. They don't talk about you have an 11 Vit. They say you have Vit +1. So I can see it also more for magic points, to give you more of those, to cast a bit more at the start. But who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, it's just another oversight that, like, we can guess all we want, but we don't know. Yeah. We don't know at the end of the day what their intention was.
I think the more likely one is that it should be pluses across the board, and that you're supposed to start with like 20 hit points or something. Yep. That said, who knows? They could also just write it differently for the bosses, and then it's fine again. And you could do it like this. But yeah, it's a beta. I would personally play with the plus and just ignore that one table. But that's your mileage. You can play this as you like. Like, this is, no one can stop you.
It's just so workable either way, honestly. That's the thing, is like, if that's the thing that, you test 2 different ways and it works both ways, damn, then they did a really good system.
Yeah. Like, again, I think due to how the hit points are made, I don't think it's supposed to be like that. But again,
it's supposed to be.
Who knows?
Especially for mana. Holy shit! What?
Yeah. But yeah,
there you go.
That's the game, and I think this is a good vertical slice. This book again is 400 pages, so we haven't really hit every corner of it. It's impossible. It's a very thick book. And very dense as well in terms of like the rules. Because you know how your D&D 5 ebook has like 50 pages of combat and like lots of flowery language for that. In this game, this game is also very much made for like veterans because the combat section is not very thick at all.
Oh,
we have 8 pages of combat, which is like the front back row thing, and then you have your actions, which are like, I hit somebody, yeah, you hit him, just go and do damage if you hit him. That's all you need to know.
They cut to the chase, which I love in this book.
Like that's the thing, because your D&D book 505 dazzles you with, we have 380 pages of rules and stuff, and then 200 of those are laboriously describing and making it less understandable how you fucking use disarm or how to grapple. But in this game, grapple. Let's see. Athletics versus skill defense. Target suffers entangled 1 on a hit. Repeat roll each turn. When the target is entangled, you may either 1. Injure and inflict your equipped melee weapons damage divided by 2, or throw. Inflict knockdown. The target is no longer entangled.
Done.
Done. These are better grapple rules than D&D has.
Yeah.
It hurts my brain.
It hurts my brain too.
This is
this is what you want.
If I want to give D&D anything here, is that this is 5 lines because this 2 is in its own line. So they needed 5 lines to write better grapple rules than D&D has. But it's probably a 2-page affair. Like, sucks. And yes, obviously, seeing this stuff, this game is not really for your first timers. Like, if you've never picked up a role-playing book before, this is not your best choice for your first one. Because it doesn't really hold your hand, and it really wants you to like dive into it and find the good combos and stuff yourself. But they exist. And they aren't cookie cutter like D&D would be.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. It's just not cookie cutter. Yeah. If I could say one thing about all the options that they present in this game, is just like makes me want to make a choice.
Yeah.
And the choice is hard, and that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like the thing is also that since D&D is such a hyper common system and everyone knows it, like, yeah, sure, if you've never played a TTRPG before, don't play this first. But also, if you have ever played D&D before, you can play this super easy because it works like you would think, plus better.
Plus a lot better.
Yeah. I think I would like to, as a little quick thing, make a character in this. If you're with me for that, Drake.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, we have to go a bit more up to find the menu step process. Okay. So, races, finishing touches. Okay, let's go through it here. So we pick ability modifiers. We are gonna make, what kind of class character do we want to make? Do we think?
Let's go with your original thought of, hey, this is like a warrior class that has 2 warrior jobs, but then the third is a wild card.
I wanted to make actually a ninja, but we can
do the ninja then. Yeah, the ninja is better. Yeah.
So, okay. Knowing we're going to ninja, we are going to have vigor, agility, vitality, mind, spirit, and PSA. Not persona, but I love calling it PSA. We're going to be a specialist.
Yeah, just do specialist.
With our highest thing being agility, with a +2.
Yeah.
We're going to put a -1 on vigor. We're going to put a 2 on vitality. And then whatever thing the ninja casts spells with, we are going to put in. I thought I'm going to put persona at 2 and spirit and mind at -1. We're kind of a dumb guy, but that's okay. So now knowing this, we must pick as our main class the one that had a free choice of their casting attribute.
Adept.
I'm trying to go down here. So it's definitely not Warrior. What the fuck? Where am I scrolling? So Ninja was the purple ones, which is the one I want to pick, I think. That was indeed Adept, yes. So, but just to make sure, let's find it. Or was it Blue? Blue is Ninja, and Blue can pick it at Persona. So we are an Adept. Yep. Meaning we get our HP is 8 plus Wit, so our MP is also 8 plus Spirit. Okay. So we might want to. I mean, we don't get a lot of MP, but that's fine. And skill is 3 plus mind, so 3 minus 1. Oof, okay, maybe we don't pick the specialist ones. Seeing this, okay, I'm already like, ooh, oh, this hurts. This hurts to have a -1 and something in this case.
It does, yeah.
Okay, but we are committed to Adept for sure. We pick our PCM as being agility.
Yep.
Easy. And our MCM is persona. Yeah, also easy. But you pick your highest ones, of course. And then we, as classes, we take Ninja. As our second class in green, we take the Rogue. Whoever could backstab. Was it in green?
Oh, I'm sorry, which one?
The backstab class.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in green.
Which one was it? Squire, Thief. Was it Thief? Yeah, Thief. And then our third class is kind of a big, but we're gonna go back up to our stats arrays and maybe pick a different array. Oh, we didn't pick arrays either. But
that'll help you, because it'll increase one of your stats.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at races. Dwarf gains versatility or persona. Okay, let's be a dwarf. +1 to persona for 3 in persona to be really good at casting. We get orienteering, skill, and we get equipment, environment, or skill feed. Okay. Let's take a look at the arrays again. A slightly less specialized array, I think. Yeah. 2, 2, 2, 0, 0, -1. I think that's the one I want, actually.
Okay.
2, 2, 2. And then we only have 1 -1. Yeah, because then what we have, we have 1 agility less. Our PSA is still 3. But we don't care that our vigor is -1. Because we have agility to do most things vigor wants us to do.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So now the question is what our third class should be. Or slow class. And here's the fun part. We don't even have to choose that at level 1, technically.
No, you
really
really
we don't get
technically.
anything from it yet. So let's just not choose it. Let's just leave it open. But let's see if we have a ninja thief in here, because there's probably like, let's see, do we see a ninja here anywhere? Mimic Knights, Battlecrown Skirt, Guardian, Theologian Man, Exorcist, Gunbreaker. We actually don't have a ninja at all in our example class. Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. I would have sworn they would have had a Yuffie. Jeez, that's weird.
They should have. But yeah.
Gosh darn it.
So now then we get our first level abilities from Ninja and Thief. We can pick our last class later or pick it now. Again, it doesn't matter. We pick three total feats. Character is fucking done. Like, it doesn't even take that long. Even though there's a lot of choice space here, it doesn't take that long. Like, you get like your consumable slots. You get a magic item to start, I guess, if you want to. You make your weapon still. But as you can see, it's not really like... This is a complicated system, a complex system, but it's not like take you hours to arrive at a decision. Like if you know you want one class, your decision space for what else you want is gonna shrink as you know. Okay, ninja, I kind of want to have stuff that synergizes with ninja, so I'm gonna be like close combating. So I need something that does that. So let's pick thief as a second, right? It's classic, super classic character. And then your third could be like a weapon master from yellow. It could be another pink class. It could be a wildcard class. Because your combo of ninja thief is already strong, it doesn't necessarily need another one. Because you have ninja you can cast, with thief you can fight. So what else do you want to do? And that's kind of how this works, and it's really nice. Also, I want to point out, by the way, that the dwarf one, the dwarf racial tunneler, when making skill rolls while underground, you roll twice and take the higher results. So they get fucking advantage when they are underground. It's so fucking OP. It's
really fucking good.
Like, it doesn't always come up, but when it comes up, it's going to be impactful.
There's a few of them that are just like super impactful that are also like that. Like Elezen can acquire treasure during downtime once per session automatically.
Yeah.
Like what? They just find shit.
Yeah, they are the trust fund babies of this game.
They really are. They really are. And then Mithra, you can flip a d20 roll once per session. Just for free.
Yeah.
The row, they just get more HP. They don't really need anything else.
Yeah.
Very fitting. While you were doing that, I rolled a Geomancer Exorcist Red Mage.
Nice.
I gave him Spirit +4, Agility +2, Vitality +2, everything else -1. They would have, 12 MP to start, 10 HP to start. Red Mage should be
I think you get double because they get your first feat from 2 classes level 1.
You get okay.
Because you get feat from your fast and medium class, you get your first feat, so you would get a level in them technically. So I think you get double at first class.
Honestly, I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, because then you are left because it's 20 levels, but you have 21 class levels, so you get one at one point. You get 2 levels, and that's the start.
That would actually make the most sense. So 20 and 24. Yeah, it's a very solid character. Yeah. Don't ask them to do anything skill-wise, though. All they will have is acrobatics and some other things. And I would make them an Elezen, but make them like a treasure hunter to take advantage of the Elezen racial feature.
Yeah.
Like, they literally just... I say treasure hunter, but they're an archaeologist, and they just dig up things out of the ground. That's it. There you go. There's a character immediately that I would play immediately.
Yeah.
And that's one way to make a treasure hunter / archaeologist without them taking an Indiana Jones class, because I didn't take a single one. And that's an important thing is like the design space here is such that you could easily default to the stereotype for everything. Very easily. But you can also play against the type very easily for everything, because the classes are the classes. The 4 classes are good, and if you want to step outside of those classes by taking the independent jobs like Exorcist, yeah, you sure can. The idea of having Exorcist with that combo is, no, that didn't happen. Just saying that anytime. It's just the ultimate fuck you. This is very much a fuck you character.
Yeah.
Very fun to play.
And like, yeah, and this is I think good way to approach this game is your first character. Just to make a guy that you like to play. Because like if you aren't really paying attention, if none of this made you want to make a guy in this, because it feels like just so right with the combination thing that tickles your brain in such a good way.
It tickles it in a good way, and it tickles it in a different way from the way Fabula Ultima does, because Fabula Ultima is about building them over time, and then this is what's the 20 level progression I'm going to build now that I can iterate on later with feats.
Yep. It tickles a different part of your brain, but they're both very tickled. It's good.
Yeah, very tickly. Very tickly.
Like
I already want to play this character. I love the mental image of them. There's so many other characters that I've played in the past that would fit in here very easily.
Yeah.
So, and there's 50 ways to build a druid, as I've put before.
Just like I want to point this out real quick. Yeah, Ramza, Squire General Mediator. You're just all about buffing your friends.
Yeah.
They're all about giving your friends a leg up, and it's really nice. Like that's lovely.
Yeah. Put in Thancred too.
They sure have him. Thief, Covert Ops, Gunbreaker. Yeah, he gets Gunbreaker later. Makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. That's good. That's really good. And then that's the final point. This system, as you've said, you could delay taking the third class until second level. Very easily.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything yet to take it now. Like, you don't have to make the decision. You can play a little bit and then decide, oh, I would like to buff this ability I have.
Yeah.
Or you can already decide. Or you can be like, man, it really sucked or I couldn't attack anyone. I'm going to take Kingsglaive and just ignore the combat grid thing. Lol. Yeah. It's all valid and all nice and fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Like again, if there's any strike against this slightly is that again it's a beta, so we have found one glaring problem in their lists. But I'm sure they are aware of that. I'm sure they're just not gonna this beta was released 59 days ago, so you can assume they're iterating, but it's just not gonna release a whole new PDF off of this one change they want to do. Yeah.
This is also one thing we didn't even touch on because it's just mentioned in like a single line. This uses milestone leveling. They completely say, no, don't use XP.
Yeah.
Just do milestone.
Like, in current year, why would you do complex XP like D&D does? Like, 5-year Ultimate would be like, yeah, count to 10. If you count to 10 successfully, you level up. That's fine. Because that's a system, like, it's easy, it's fast, and it works. But being like, oh, you are level 5 rogue, you need 7,500 and more XP to level up. You slew an orc, well, that's 35 XP. Please do your own math. No, I don't want to. XP sucks. And you know what the funniest part about XP usually is? That it's DM fiat anyway, because the book is like, well, you get XP for fighting stuff. But you also get XP for like doing goals with solving quests.
Yep.
And so usually a DM is going to be like, well, you fought like this ogre and these orcs and these bandits. So that's like 500 XP. And you write that down for the session. And you're like, oh my God, we're going to use so much more XP to level up. And then you just do the quest and suddenly you are level up because you get 8,000 XP or whatever. Because the DM's like, well, for the next bit, they need to be one level higher. And I guess that we didn't fight that much. It's always been milestone. It's just milestone with math if you do XP.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot take from Nora 2025. Fuck XP leveling. I think it's also really nice for this to point out that these classes tend to fit on one page. Very few of these need a second page.
Also, this book has so many option things that are just thrown in there. One of them is you can pick a 4th class in exchange for being able to use fewer magic items. Which, looking at it for a long moment, you realize, oh, my magic items, some of them can give me another class feature.
Yeah.
So it is an actual pretty equivalent trade-off in this system, which surprises me. Like, they actually balanced it well enough to make that work.
Yeah. And importantly in this, right, since it's actually a thing I misunderstood, missaid in the moment. When I looked at the list here, right? D&D is like, well, you get 3 magic items. This game is like, well, at first level you get at most 1. And then eventually at 20th level you're gonna have 5 lessers, 4 great. Like, you're gonna have room in your fucking build for a lot of items.
You really will.
Because fuck D&D's, oh, you get 3 items rule. It sucks, it's dumb.
Garbage. Oh, garbage. Like, most people I've known have house ruled it to tie it to your proficiency bonus, and I'm like, that isn't even that good. Because why? Like, I always ask why. In this game, you can at least think about it for a second. Well, it has to do with materia and the life stream.
Yeah.
And your combined, like, accomplishments in life and blah, 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 blah. Like, there's reasons built in because it's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And Dungeons and Dragons, it doesn't exist.
This is a rant I've already done last year at some point. But the problem is with D&D is that, oh, not the problem, one of the many problems is that since you picked your class at level 1 and it's going to truck along now for 20 levels, unless you choose to multi-class, but you already decided that as well, you would do that at some point. It's not something you decide on a whim. At least most people don't. There's no decisions to make. So the only thing you are left with to improve your character is to ask the DM, hey DM, can I have a magic sword for my fighter? So because it's the only thing that can improve me. Because I took the sword feat. And then DM is gonna be eventually yeah, I guess they get the magic sword now. And then one of your 3 slots is filled. And you are going to find way more than 3 times characters in the group magic items over the course of a game. Because the only interesting stuff that can even drop in a D&D game is magic items.
Yeah, and it's almost always magic items that help you in combat too.
Yeah. And so a system that allows you to over time just have more, it's nice. Is it necessarily enough? I have no idea in this game. I'm gonna say it outright. But at least you have at 70th level we have 11 items actually that I could have. Seems nice, especially since potions don't count. This is another thing that I hate about D&D. That D&D is well, this giant strength potion is a super rare item. It's not the same, guys. It's not the same as the girdle of giant strength because one is permanent, the other is not. I hate potions because they usually just mean that you are gonna be carrying that potion around forever now, thinking, well, if I use it now, is that really the best use I can get out of it? Fuck that. In this game, if you have one of your lesser slots is potion and you have lost 25% HP, and you aren't a class that needs to be at limit break range, you're gonna chuck that fucking potion on your turn if you think you need to. Because it's just an action, and you have more of them. This is also this game. It looks to me like you start feeling powerful. You start out feeling like you're a competent person. In D&D, you start out feeling like some goober who hopefully doesn't die.
Yeah, that's the big thing. That I railed against this with D&D for a very long time, is that your level 1 goober an orc sneezes on you.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. Even if you're a fighter, the orc with the great axe, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
And that's not how it should be. That's not how it should be.
I agree with what Etta is saying. Once again, old school games give you the tool set and suggest things you can do with it. Modern games like 5e tell you what you can't do and keep their tool set concealed. Yeah, that sucks. And this game actually does give you the tool set.
Oh, gives you the whole tool set. Opaquely. Very opaquely.
Yeah. Yep. Like, arguably, the DM tool set in this one is a bit like... The DM stuff is only the monsters, which is not a big section. And it could use a DM book, this game. But hey, this is a free product. I'm not going to knock them for writing just 400 pages of game.
Yep.
Like, ultimately, I don't need the DM section. I need the information that's in here to play. That's what I'm getting. Okay. Good episode. Wahaha. Next week we do a episode on this channel, folks.
Yeah, let's do the episode.
But also, Drake, what game are we doing in 2 weeks' time?
Man, I had decided it and then forgot what I decided, and then decided it again, then I forgot what I decided.
Okay. I'll give it a second because we haven't done the other thing we do. Hey, Drake, what's your favorite thing about this game?
My favorite thing about this game is 57 options.
It's, for 57. Yeah, it's so crazy many.
It's just, I have to keep saying 57 because it's like 57.
Yeah.
What game does that? Nobody.
My favorite thing is Build-A-Bear weapons. So nice.
Oh, that's so good.
Also the whole spell section, because it does feel like they earned their magic point system.
They do. They really do. Sure, they repeat earth, fire, blah, 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 basically the same defense spell over and over. I just realized, though, that's fine. And the reason why I'm going to say it's fine is sometimes we need it just spelled out like that, especially in a beta.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
It could be a case of we haven't figured out how to display it better yet. Even.
Yeah, or to how to differentiate these more.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have it like this for right now.
What I could think of is having like, oh, here's your resistance band, then it has a little listing for each of the colors. It says what it does for that color, and then the universal effect, whatever. What's your least favorite thing, Drake?
I really don't like how we still don't know what they were intending to do with HP and MP for Multiplier Plus. And then also you had brought up the thing where, well, you technically get a level in each of these classes at the start. Shouldn't it be double that then?
Yeah.
Like, all these are important questions. They have to be answered. Those have not been answered.
Yep.
But the reason why that's the worst is that those are basic things.
Mm-hmm.
And they be ironed out immediately.
Yeah. Those feel like things that will come up and will get answered because people will ask them.
Yep.
And they don't feel like things that they overlooked. They feel like things they just haven't pointed out. Like,
yeah, and it feels like one hand didn't know what the other hand was doing.
This is 400 pages of very dense rules. I understand that, especially stuff like that, because these are the very basic problems, right? These are the very basic things. Yeah. No one probably proofread that shit in a year because it's been done that long. They have been doing other parts of this book. And those have been the recent focus, so they don't even remember that rule isn't in.
Yep.
Because these writers have stuff to do. Yeah.
Shit to do,
yeah. My least favorite thing is a bit meta, but it is actually that this game is based so closely on FinFan, because I think, this is really cool. You are limiting your player base in a really cool system that I would like people to play, by making it a FinFan, because the buy-in is just high. This being a generic system, like loosely based on D&D, would immediately blow Pathfinder out of the water for me in terms of. Like, this would be the game where, like, if you really have to play a D20 plus step modifier game, play generic fantasy finals, the game. Like you can still tell people, yeah, play the Final Fantasy fan game. It's really good. But then there's a large subsection of gamers who will be like, I don't play Final Fantasy games. I'm a real gamer. I only play Call of Duty. Well, okay, don't hang out with those people, but it's just the design space is limited. There's also a few side choices where I'm like, are you sure Viera only get the racial features you may use orienteering to sense elemental affinities? Like, ouch. That might be a bit little. Viera might actually be the understated race in this one, which is my buddy. My buns deserve better, guys. But whatever. Like, these are nitpicks. But yeah, really good game. Really good game. Really, really good game. So
we were going to look at Cypher System finally.
Cypher System, well, that's going to be easy for me because the points don't matter.
Don't matter at all. I hadn't decided we were going to look at it through the lens of Numenera or not. We probably should.
We should, yeah. It's at least going to be an overarching, what you call it, a word for like an overarching anchor that we can like we can use to orient ourselves, because generic Cypher is like any generic system, you just end up with, hey guys, what do you want to do? Well, here's a shit ton of options, none of which are really applicable to what you want to do. Have fun. Bye.
Bye.
And I hope then that these in Numenera, they are going to skin it a lot more towards that kind of thing.
Yep, and it was the original iteration of it too, so I feel like that's the best lens to view it through. Yeah. Kind of like we got a little taste of Savage Worlds through. I think that was the one I was originally going to have us do with Savage Worlds, but no, we need to look at Cypher because we need one that is a little stinky. Yeah. Yeah, Cypher. We need our stinkers together, good ones. If you all have free games you would like us to look at, please poke me, because I have some more free games I can nominate, but I don't have ones I really want to nominate. It was fun to do one for that one of you brought to me. So if you have one, please do. I'm still want to do more free games if possible, because I really think, I mean, any TTRPG in 2025 can be free, but games that are officially free are just kind of chats, you know? They are kind of chats. And of course, like, I know a few too. I've looked at a few on itch, especially. That are also worth it. And then at some point this year, probably before March, we'll do one where it's just like, we're going to look at these 3 or 4 short games.
Oh yeah, it's true.
That are like 60 to 80 pages. Yeah,
they're going to do that, because we did spend 3 hours on the Abbey game, on Rosewood Abbey, because that was such a novel way to do a game in the first place. Yeah. But if you're making a more classic game, but it's a very short one, doing a full episode on that is hard. So we're going to do that kind of thing. But yeah, it's coming. Next week, the episode, we're probably going to talk about Monster Manual stuff quite a bit.
Yeah, and about news and surrounding other things.
Yeah. And so
I'll have stuff for that.
I hope this was a good one for you to start the year with us. Do you have anything to plug for the coming week?
No, just we do Generation Zero Monday.
Yeah.
Fabulous Ultima Friday. We were going to do something Thursday. What was it? We're going to do...
we were going to do Atlas on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, Atlas Thursday. So that means I'll probably be writing on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
My Tuesdays for the next 3 weeks are going to be spent playing Christmas games. So I'm going to do Tactical Breach Wizards on Tuesday.
Yep.
And yeah, that's the week for me too, actually. That's the plan, at least. Yeah.
Fact week.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's find somebody to raid. Oh god, Ezra's playing deck Katana. That's...
Yep.
We found our target. We found it immediately. Oh no.
You got it working, I guess.
Ezra's did get it working. It must have. Oh my god.
Where's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for watching, Wax.
Thank you for watching. Yeah. Okay, wish me luck for next week, folks. I'm back to working next week. It's gonna suck. Hey, did Kyrie give gems today? I didn't hear any noise. It's in the thing. I think it's for the month. I think it happened the other day. Yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm hitting the red buttons. You all have a good one. Have a good Sunday. Have a good rest of your Saturday.
You next time.
Stay safe. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.